Hey guys, so I just got to the location for the ayahuasca ceremony. I'm so excited. It's different because it's outside, completely outside. Last time we were inside of a barn, so this time we're gonna be outside. I'll show you guys around, but I'm so excited. This time, I think I'll just kind of video document everything so that you guys can have the story. And if I'm not able to, then I'll insert the story after this. So I don't know what the weekend's gonna bring. I'm gonna try to tell you guys as it's happening whenever I get my phone. And if I don't have the chance, then I just, I'll do it when I get home. But I'm super, super excited. I feel like this time's gonna be so different. So let's go. This is a little area for people to congregate, and then the staff is parking up here. And this is so pretty. So I guess apparently it's like an Airbnb rental, so they rented it out for this. It's so nice. Look at this, you guys. So pretty. Beautiful. You can't beat the views. Look at the sun. You can't beat the views, man. So pretty. Okay, so what was your name again?
Hokulani.
Oh my gosh, I'm not gonna remember that. So you follow me on
And TikTok.
TikTok and
YouTube.
and YouTube, and then she watched my video, and that's why she's here.
Yes.
How cool is
I
that?
know.
And then she brought her friends from Hawaii. How
Yes.
freaking awesome is that? So do you guys want to be in it?
Yes.
Okay. And then
Aloha.
what was her name?
Heather.
Heather and
Kelly.
And Kelly. They all came. I'm so excited. I've been telling them the story about my experience, and now they're scared.
Yes.
A little scared. But it's gonna be okay. We're all here together, so we can deal with it. But here's everybody. Get ready. I wanted to show us before we die.
Yes.
Right.
And then we will document after.
I'm all dirty.
Yeah, we'll definitely be dying tonight, so pray for us. Hey guys, okay, so I just woke up from taking a nap. I know this is like not the best angle, but I'm in my car right now. Not my car, this is actually my sister's car, but I was able to set up like a little bed in here to sleep. Thank God, because last time it was really rough. Like, my car is really small. I have like an Elantra, so sorry, I'm like talking really low as if people can hear me, but I have an Elantra, and it was really uncomfortable, so I didn't sleep. So thank God my sister let me borrow her car, and I got a nap in. And now I'm just up because I'm hungry and I really want to take a shower and I have to pee. Anyway, let me tell you how the night went. So okay, so I took my first cup, and okay, first, before I even took my first cup, I was like, my body knew what was about to come, because right away I already felt like I had to throw up and go to the bathroom. And it's like, you haven't taken anything yet. Like, why do you have to go to the bathroom or throw up? So I was like in the bathroom trying to like use the bathroom and throw up, and then I just couldn't like get anything out. And so I was like, girl, just wait till you take the medicine. It'll happen. So I took my first cup, and okay, so remember last time I was like, oh, it's not bad, like it tastes like prune juice or whatever, but after you take that shit and you throw up so much on it like I did, it like triggers it, like the smell of it triggers you wanting to throw up again. So the minute I took the cup, I was like gagging. I was like, oh my God, this is disgusting. Like, it was so gross because it just triggered the memories of me throwing up. And somebody else had said that in my first one. They were like, I just threw up so much on it that like anytime I smell it, I want to throw up. And I was like, now I get that, right? So I'm so tired. So I took the first cup, and then I was like, right away, I was like, oh my God, I had to go to the bathroom. Thank God this time the location we're at has a bathroom inside the house, and we were able to use it. So, because I was both ends, like I was on the toilet and throwing up at the same time. It was like when I did Cambo, I was on the fucking toilet and throwing up at the same time. And I was like, okay, that's fine. Like, obviously there's literally shit that has to come out of me, like, get it out, right? And then that was it. And then I went back to my mat, and like, people started having their freakouts. Well, first there was like one girl who had a freak out like right away. And then they have like this barn right there, and that's where they're taking people who have their freakouts like I did last time. I feel like it looks so weird because I'm looking at myself over here, but the camera's over here. It's so annoying. They should have put the camera somewhere that doesn't look dumb. Anyway, so they started taking people to the barn who had the freak out. And so there was one girl who started freaking out right away, and I'm pretty sure she must have done the rapid beforehand. And the rapid is like it's like this like tobacco that goes up your nose, and it's supposed to like really activate the ayahuasca right away, I guess. And so I think she did that because like right away she was like gone. They ended up having to take her, and then there was like another girl they had to take because she was having her freak out. And then there was mostly all women. There's only 12 guys. None of the guys freaked out this time. It was just the girls, and it honestly wasn't as bad as my first time. Like the first time, oh my God, that was like so intense. It was like overwhelming sounds of like crying, screaming, and throwing up for 6 hours straight. On my first ayahuasca experience, this one, everybody was like really quiet, but I was getting very, very, very triggered by any sound. It felt like the medicine intensified every sound, and felt like, oh my God, I just wanted everyone to shut up. So then, there was the girl next to me, and she started off being like, it's so pretty, it's so pretty. And I was like, oh, I wonder like what she's seeing that's so pretty, and then all of a sudden it flipped, and then she started freaking out. And she just was like, at first she was saying like, she's okay, just send her love. And I'm like thinking like maybe she's thinking about someone, she knows, whatever. And then she started having her freak out, and she just started like saying all this stuff out loud. And the thing is that like I would start, the first cup just made me like really sleepy after I went to the bathroom and everything. So I was like starting to fall asleep, but every time she would talk, like the minute I started dozing off. And so I was like, oh, okay. And so it kept waking me up because I'm a very light sleeper, and I even put earplugs in. That shit doesn't work for me. I'm such a light sleeper. So then she started having her freak out, and it's like so interesting because in my next ceremony I'm planning on like facilitating and not like participating. So I was watching how everybody handles stuff, and I could see that they started being like, okay, it's time soon, and time to take her to the barn because she was gonna start having her freak out. So they kind of wait until they let you experience whatever your experience, and then they wait until like it's you're really having your freak out, like you're at the moment of dying, pretty much, not like physically actually dying, but like your ego death where you're like freaking out for real. So they wait until that, and then they'll pull you to the barn. And so they were like, it's time soon. And so everybody started gathering around, and she just started like yelling and screaming and having this freak out. And they were like, okay, we got to get her. And then they tried to get her up, and she was just like, no, get off me and don't touch me. And, and then, but it was so crazy because like hearing her, she was like, what the fuck? What the fuck? I can't do this anymore. She was just like freaking out. And I was like, I feel you, girl. And then they ended up being like, hey, we need you to get up to go to the barn. And she was like, no, don't touch me. And she was freaking out, and they were just like, you don't have a choice, you have to get up. And she was like, help me. And so they like helped her get up, and then as she was walking to the barn, she was just freaking out and screaming and being like, is this real? And she flipped out, right? She just had this huge massive attack kind of thing. And And then she was gone, and then they pretty much started doing second cup, and I was like, fuck, I really don't want to do second cup because I was just like feeling like shit from the first cup. But I was like, okay, I'm already here. I'll do second cup. Sorry. I'll do second cup, but after that I'm not doing more. Like my first time I really pushed it because I was just so excited and I wanted to see stuff that I drink 4 cups. But this time I was like, I'm doing 2 cups and that's it because this shit is making me so sick. So I went up for a second cup and I plugged my nose this time because I was like, I can't taste it. If I taste it, I'm going to throw up right away. So I went up for a second cup and I grabbed my bucket with me because I was like, the minute I taste it, I know I'm going to throw up. So I plugged my nose, I took a sip, and like, it's made out of tree bark and like a plant, right? So there's like grainy stuff in it, like literally like a leaf stem. And that was one of the things that was in my mouth. And so I like took it out, and then like the minute I took it out, I was like throwing up in my bucket. Like I hadn't even made it back to my mat, and I was like throwing up in my bucket. And so I went back to the mat, and then I was just like, oh my God, my stomach again. And so I went back to the bathroom. And so I was back in the bathroom again, pretty much throwing up and, you know, whatever. And then I was like, okay, get out, whatever you need to get out, okay. And then I went back to my mat. When I went back to my mat, sorry, I want to check how my battery's at, but I guess I can't check it while I'm filming. So anyway, sorry, because I think my battery's dying. But when I went back to my mat, I started feeling it all over my body. I could feel like everything in my body, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so uncomfortable. Like I felt so uncomfortable in my own body, and I was just like, oh, I hate this feeling. Like, oh my God, I feel so uncomfortable. And I was just like, I wanted to ask for help, but then I was like, they can't help you feel better. So like, what are you going to ask for help for? And then I'm like, okay. And then my heart rate went up, and then my breathing got really shallow. I felt like I couldn't catch my breath, which this happened to me last time where I couldn't catch my breath. I felt like I was like constantly trying to like take a deep breath and I couldn't get it. And so I was like, oh, I started feeling really uncomfortable, and I was like, oh, I want to ask for help, but like, and then I started talking to myself, and I'm like, they can't help you. You have to do this on your own. Like they can't make your body feel better. They can't lower your heart rate, and they can't give you more oxygen. So I was like, come back to your body, like come back to your breath, you know, try to breathe, lower your heart rate. And so I started trying to focus on that. But then like I just couldn't, I felt like I couldn't breathe, like I couldn't catch my breath. And you guys know I have a problem with like the suffocation stuff from my other journeys. So I was like, oh, and I started talking to like, you know, my spirit guides, and I was like, can you guys please help me breathe? I just feel like I can't breathe. I can't catch my breath. I just want to take a deep breath, please. And then right then, one of the staff members started singing. It was a woman, and she started singing this song about like forgiveness, and it just really triggered memories about my mom. I swear, whenever they sing, they like trigger us because or whenever they play music, because the minute they start playing music, everybody's fucking crying, throwing up, and everything. So she started singing this song, and it just made me think of my mom, because it was just like, you know, pretty much just saying like, I forgive you, and like, you know, I don't know, I don't really even remember what the song said, but it just made me think of my relationship with my mom. And the other day I was texting someone about my trauma with my mom, and they were like, yeah, I understand, like I also had to recently do that, but like then now she gets it and blah blah blah. And I was just like, okay, cool, like glad your mom gets it, but like, you know, my mom doesn't. And so I had been texting, and I had been like, yeah, that's fine, but like doesn't mean I have, like I understand everything that she did, but doesn't mean that I have to forgive her. And I was started writing out forgive, and I was like, whoa, why are you writing forgive? Like, have you not forgiven her? You can say I don't have to forget it, but no, you have to forgive her. And so I noticed that was like a Freudian slip, where I was like, oh, I'm still holding on to stuff. I'm still holding on to like this anger inside me that I don't want to forgive her for what she's done, but like I have to because it's for me, not for her, right? So I know I caught myself with that, and I was like, okay, so I'm still holding on to stuff. So here, once, I started feeling like, and I was like, please help me catch my breath. And then that girl started singing that song at that moment. I was like, here we go. I grabbed my bucket and I was just purging like nonstop. It was just coming out of me. And all I was thinking about was my mom. So I was like, I'm letting go of stuff that I'm holding on to my mom. And so I just kept saying like, I love you, mom. I love you. I love you. Like, I forgive you. Like, as I'm purging in the bucket. And I just kept saying, I love you over and over. And then once it was like to the point where like I didn't have control, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm just in the bucket, like it's just coming out of me. And so finally, after like I purged it all, I took this deep breath and I was like, oh my God, I can breathe again. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Like literally they and the medicine like pushed me to purge all that shit that I was holding on. And I could feel it like in the pit of my stomach, like right here. I could feel that build up. And so it was like, if you're lactose intolerant or if you have any food allergies, you get like that ball and then it like swells up and you're super bloated. That's how I had felt even before I started. So to finally let all that out, I was like, oh, thank you so much. Like I let it out and I can finally breathe. So it's so crazy how like the medicine and all this stuff will turn your like emotional pain into physical. And so it was like I was suffocating myself with the shit I was holding on to, because I felt like I was like, I can't breathe, I can't catch my breath, and then it wasn't until I purged all that stuff that I was still resentment. It's so funny, we did breath work with Vitali. He's great, and it really did, like, my hands got stuck like this again, you guys, and he asked us like, what are you guys feeling right now, what are you guys feeling, and the first word that kept coming up to my head was resentment. And I was like, why are you resentful? No. And so I said gratitude, because I'm like, I'm thankful for being here, I'm thankful for everything that's going on in my life. But my subconscious said resentment. And that's what happens with hypnotherapy. Like your subconscious speaks through you. So my subconscious said resentment. And I was like, oh, I don't want to be resentful. I'm obviously holding on to stuff. So it's crazy that once we drank the medicine let me know, like, yeah, you're being resentful and you're holding on to stuff. So finally I let it out. And I was just like, once I let it out, I was like, like right now taking that deep breath feels so good, because it really does feel sometimes like I take very shallow breaths and it's really hard to catch my breath. And it's crazy, like your emotional baggage and your emotional pain will manifest into physical. So it was showing me that. So I didn't trip, but I did what I had to do. Like the medicine did what it needed to do. I just purged that out, and then I felt so much better. I didn't feel uncomfortable in my body. My heart rate went down. I could breathe again, and I just laid down and I was like out of the medicine. But I was so tired. But the only thing is I was getting super triggered by sounds. Like people would start freaking out, and so I was like, oh my God, like, they would take them to the barn, and I was like, oh, thank God, okay, good, they took them to the barn. But like literally somebody could breathe and I would get triggered by it. And my sister tends to have like I don't know what it's called, like sensitive sensory overload or something, like overstimulation with sounds. And she will get like triggered to the point where she just wants to like cry, because sounds or smells like will trigger her, and she's like, oh my God, like I don't like this, right? Well, that happened to me, and I was like, dude, this is how my sister must feel. Because one, they were making food inside, and because they served us soup like the minute we are done with ceremony, and I hate smelling food while I'm sleeping. I don't know what it is, but if like, especially whenever I've lived anywhere, if my neighbors start cooking food like early in the morning or late at night when I'm sleeping, oh my God, it triggers the fuck out of me. I hate smelling anything like any food while I'm sleeping. I don't know what it is. I don't know where it came from, but it just fucking triggers the shit out of me. So So I kept like covering my nose up with like my blanket, but then I'd get hot, so then I'd want to like take it off. And by the way, I'm glad that I brought my sweats because it did get cold at night. Like the medicine, I got really cold. Oh my god, you know what else I noticed? So we could see the moon and the stars perfectly. Like, oh my god, they were so bright. It was like I was in a planetarium. And the moon was really, really, really low, and it looked like a toenail because it was like this shape. And it was really low to the point where it was like eye level with us. Like it was right next to a tree. And then the stars were really bright, shining so bright, and I was like, wow, it's so pretty. And then, not no joke, within 2 hours they were gone. The moon had completely shifted, all the stars had completely shifted, like they rotated so fucking fast. And I was like, I don't think it's normal for them to rotate this fast. So there's definitely something going on with our simulation and our dome for sure. Like everything is spinning so fast. So anyway, so then they were playing music, and like for my other thing is I'm so particular when it comes to sleeping. Okay, so when I'm sleeping, I need to have the AC at a certain temperature. I need to have my fans on. I need to like be sleeping by myself and not have any sounds that's not like white noise or my meditation music. And I'm super sensitive to light. Obviously sensitive to smells and sounds. Like, good luck to whoever wants to spend their life with me, because I'm very particular. Honestly, I would rather just have like my own room whenever I'm with someone, because like I don't want to deal with sharing my shit with anyone. And after 35 years of like being so particular with myself, like I'd rather have my own room and not share a room with whoever I end up with. But anyway, so I was getting so triggered by every fucking thing that was going on. And then the silence, I hate the silence. So then I was like, can you guys, like in my head, I'm like, can you guys please play some music? And so they started playing music, and I was like, oh, thank you. But then there was like someone that started using their body as like a drum set, and so they were like playing along to the music, like, you know, hitting themselves, and like that fucking triggered the shit out of me too. And I was like, oh my god, can you stop hitting yourself? Like, not that they were hitting themselves in a bad way, it's just the sound of like the smacking was like, I don't know what the fuck, it was fucking triggering me so bad, and I wanted to crawl out of my skin. And all I kept thinking was like, I'm starving, I want to fucking eat. And I had bought these blueberry muffins from Sprouts, which they're dairy-free, gluten-free, and nut-free, flax, whatever. Anyway, the point is they're not that great and not worth $10 at Sprouts, okay? But that's all I wanted to eat was a fucking muffin, so I ate one this morning. Udi's gluten-free blueberry muffins are way better. So anyway, I was like, I'm starving and I want to go to my car and be alone. Like, it was like everything was so overstimulating. I'm sure the medicine played a part in like how overstimulated I was getting, but like, oh my god. And then they brought my neighbor back from the barn, and then she had started talking to me, and then she was like, oh, sorry, we can't talk because we're not supposed to talk. And then she like at one point I was just like, oh my god, like I was going crazy, and I like sat up, and she's like, are you okay? I'm like, I'm so triggered, I need to be alone, like I need to go to my car. And she's like, no, you're good, like just stay here with us. It's like, obviously I can't go to my car, I have to wait for them to give us our keys. So I was like, kept looking at my watch. I'm like, oh my god, can it be 6 o'clock? Because at 6 is when they like, you know, put the stuff back out. So finally 6 o'clock came, and I like shot up, and I was like, can I get my keys? And then they were like, oh yeah, we're bringing it on in a second. I'm like, I need to be in my car. Like, I want to go in my car, I want to be alone, I want to just lay down and like have nobody talk to me and nobody around me. And then they were just like, yeah, we're gonna put it out soon. And then at that moment, like, I went back to my mat, and then my neighbor you know, we kind of started talking because now we can. And so of course right away I'm like, I want to know what she saw, because I want to hear people's story who have a freak out, because I had a freak out, and then like nobody really shared their story with me my first time around. So I was like, dude, I really hope I really want to hear people's stories. So then I asked her, and I was like, hey, what's your story? Like, what did you see, if you don't mind sharing? And she was like, I legit had a full-blown exorcism, like a full-blown exorcism. I don't even know how to describe it. Like, I saw so much shit. She said at first she saw heaven. She was like, I saw heaven, I saw the Virgin Mary. I saw Jesus. I saw how beautiful. I felt the love. Oh my God, it was so blissful. And that's why she was like, it's so pretty. It's so pretty at the beginning. She was like, oh my God, it was amazing. And then she said it just flipped. And then it just took her to like, she said things started looking like geometrical. Like she started seeing all the shapes of everything. She started seeing like all her surroundings just like breathing and moving. She could see the energy. She could see the frequencies and vibrations. And so she started freaking out and she's like, oh my God, like, is this real? Is this real? She was freaking out. And then there's like the, staff walking around and they have like these kind of like ponchos things on. So then she started freaking out thinking they were like in cloaks. And then she's like, are they real? Like, when you're under the medicine, so, I mean, that didn't happen with me with like what's real or not. But like some people I've heard experiences like that they just see everything come to life and like it freaks them out. So she saw that and she was like freaking out. And then she said that at first when she was saying, oh, it's so pretty, she saw that. But then she said that when she started kind of freaking out internally, she was trying to calm herself down. So that's why she was like, she's okay, it's okay, like, you just send her love. And she was talking to herself. So she was like, you're good, like kind of calming herself down. She was really trying to suppress the stuff that was coming up. And then all of a sudden it just all came out. She was like, you know what? She was like, just surrender. And she was saying it out loud. She was like, just surrender. And that's when she just started purging. And she was just like, oh, like, it all came out. And she was like, and she just kept going and going and going. And she was like, what the fuck? She was like, how much more do I have in me? And then it just kept coming up and coming up. And she was like, she was like yelling. And then she was like, I can't do this anymore. What the fuck? She was like yelling. And so, I told you guys at the beginning. So she said that what was happening was she got stuck in a loop like I did, but she got stuck in a loop of seeing, like, she said she saw things. She's like, I don't even know how to explain this. She's like, I want to explain it, but I don't know how. She said, she's like, I saw everything. She's like, I saw wars. And then she's like, I saw syringes. I saw pills. I saw, like, she just saw drugs. She saw like addiction stuff. And she was like, oh my God, but the thing is that it just kept looping, like all the thoughts. And then she's like, a thought wouldn't last more than like 3 seconds, and before I could focus on it, it would shift to another thought. And like she was having like brain overload, right? Like it was like download overload. And she was like, oh my God, make it stop, because she couldn't physically handle all the shit she was seeing in her brain. And I asked her, like, oh, does your family suffer from addiction? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, that's why you saw that, because that runs in your DNA, you know what I'm saying? And so you see things that are if she got stuck in that loop, that means that her family is constantly stuck in a loop of addiction. And so she was like, yeah, but I always like, suppress that. And so she was like, oh my God. And then she just said that she was just freaking out, like when they were taking her, and she was like, the moon looked huge and the stars, and she was just yelling. She was so scared. And then they took her into the barn, and she said that she started like hyperventilating in the barn, and she was just freaking out. And then they finally, she finally kind of came out of the medicine, and that's when they brought her back. But I asked her, so how are you feeling now? And she was like, I feel so light. Like, I feel, oh my God, like so much weight was lifted off of me. Like, she's like, I would never be able to heal if I hadn't done this. Like, and she only took 1 cup. I was like, damn, girl. Like, and it hit her right away. I'm like, I'm always jealous of these people that like, it hits you right away with 1 cup. I'm like, I wish. But I said, man, I think like the medicine had to show you like heaven and all these nice things, because it was about to tear you down. And so they were probably like, all right, girl, like we're about to take you to the pits of hell, but first we'll show you something pretty, so there is goodness out there. So yeah, that's what happened. And then I was able to come to my car and take a nap. And then I wanted to film this for you guys because I don't know what's going to happen, throughout the day. And I wanted to be able to update you guys. By the way, there's like half the people here follow me on social media. So that was pretty cool. Everybody's like, oh my God, I follow you. And I was like, oh my God. And then like, yeah, I don't know how many people are here because of my videos. I know some of them are. So I wonder. I really want to take like a group photo with people that follow me, so I'm going to try to do that at some point, hopefully. And then and yeah, so now I'm going to go and take a shower. I took like I don't know, maybe a 3-hour nap. I'm really tired, but I need to take a shower and eat. So I'm going to eat and then probably chit chat with some people. I got to charge my phone because I just got my warning. My battery's going to die. And I will update you guys. So tonight is probably gonna be the same thing. And then the thing is that, like, once we're done with tonight, then we go straight into morning ceremony. Hopefully tonight we don't do it too late, because last time we did it so late that we literally like started at midnight drinking, we're done at 6 a.m. and then started third ceremony at 9 a.m. Like literally within 3 hours. It was like bam, bam, bam. So hopefully we don't do that, because I do want to take the time to like update you guys in between. But if I can't, I'll update you when I can. So that's the update. And yeah. I also forgot to tell you guys, when girls are on their period, he calls you up. He's like, if you're on your period, come up. And then he like breaks off this like tree bark thing, and then he like prays over it, and then you have to put it like in your underwear, like right where your uterus is pretty much, and then leave it in there. I don't know why. I'm gonna ask. But this was like so annoying because it was like breaking off in my underwear. But yeah, I guess I had to do it. I don't know why. I'm guessing like the medicine affects you if you're on your period or something. And I'm like, why do I have to be on my period doing this fucking thing? Because I remember last time he called the girls up that were on their period, and I was like, oh, I don't want to be on my period during it. And I was. So, I mean, there's a few of us. So I don't know the purpose. I will find out, but I just wanted to let you guys know that. It is currently a little past 8 in the morning after night 2. I've slept about maybe an hour to 2 hours. I thought that this was gonna be like a pretty quick and easy night. I was wrong. Oh my gosh. First of all, I hate that if I look at myself, I'm like looking off camera, but I also like, I thought it was weird, and I was looking at myself after filming the other one, and it was like, I looked like I wasn't, whatever. You guys don't give a shit. Just listen to the story. Okay, so last night's ceremony started around 9 p.m. Okay, like maybe, actually, I think we started at, sorry, I'm gonna plug, actually, you know what, I'm not gonna plug the phone in because I want to hold the camera. So anyway, started around like 9:30 to 10, and I set my intentions, and I was like, please let me see like blissfulness and peace and feel God's love, and you know, let me let me know that I'm doing what I need to do to like help humanity, right? That I'm doing my job, right? Okay, so I drink my cup, and he had like just made the ayahuasca, so it was really hot, and I hate when it's hot, and it's like very acidic. So I drank it, and it just like makes you gag right away. Well, it makes me gag right away. And then I go back to my mat, and right away, like, ayahuasca hits me on both ends. So I'm like, time to go to the bathroom. So I go to the bathroom, and I'm like purging and on the toilet at the same time. And then I go back to my mat, and I'm like, okay, cool. Like, now I can just sleep, right? Wrong. So I'm laying down, and I'm thinking like, I'm just going to doze off. And then, sorry, if I burp through this, you guys will understand why, okay? Because I have it trapped inside me. So, I'm thinking I'm going to doze off. And then there's, so last night was very quiet. There wasn't really any freakouts. And if there was a freakout, which there must have been, because I heard somebody in the barn, in the barn, like screaming. So I was like, oh, they must have pulled her while I was in the bathroom. But there wasn't really any freakouts. But the guys were like purging a lot last night. I feel like I didn't really hear the guys night one. The guys were purging a lot. The girls kind of just like fell asleep. So the guys were purging, and there was one guy who was like purging from the depths of his soul. You could feel it. You could hear where he's like, oh, you know, it's like coming out. And at one point he's like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. And I was like, mood, bro. You know, like in my head, I'm like, I feel you. And then my fucking, I don't know, empathetic or whatever the fuck ass was like, oh, he doesn't want to do this anymore. So now you need to take some of it on. Yeah. So right then I was like, oh, time to go to the bathroom. I like had to run to the bathroom, and this time, like usually I've been going to the bathroom inside because I don't want to do anything where people can hear me, but the other ones were closed, like people were using them. So there's a bathroom outside, and it was like right next to where he was throwing up. So I'm on the toilet while he's throwing up, and I'm like it's coming out, like I'm just like feeling his pain. And so I'm like, oh, I'm like feeling his pain, and he's like, oh. And then the minute he's done vomiting, I'm done. I was like, you're welcome, whoever the fuck you were. I'm sure he doesn't know, but I'm like, I'm sure that you think that like that was the worst. It could have been worse. It's just that I took on some of your pain. So at that point, I was like, it was like kind of confirmation that like I really do take on others' pain and to help the collective. And I know that that's like, part of my whole mission is to take on, like, kind of go through the pain for others. So I was like, okay, thank you for the confirmation that I'm doing what I need to do to help humanity. But it sucks that I'm constantly feeling the pain of others without meaning to or wanting to. So I'm done with that. Once he's done, and then he's peace and quiet. So I'm like, okay, great. He's done. Great. Go back to my mat. And then I start feeling nausea. And I knew that it wasn't my nausea because this happened to me after the first time of ayahuasca, where I started feeling the collective's nausea. So I started feeling all of the collective's nausea again. And I'm like, oh, fuck. And then right then, a bunch of the guys started throwing up. And I'm like, yeah, can you guys get it out, please? Because I can feel your nausea. I know it's not my nausea. And it's fucking annoying. So they were getting it out. And then the minute that they would stop throwing up, my pain would go away. And I'm like, oh, thank you. Then I started feeling like I had to burp. And so then I was like, oh, great. Now I have to burp. And then I started hearing people burping. And I'm like, okay, good. Get it out. Get it out, guys. So then they started burping. And then it turned to me. So last time this happened too on Sunday, on the third day, where I was feeling the collective's energy and like feeling all their pain. And then once I was done feeling all their pain, then it turned into like, me. And it wasn't pain. It was, that's when I started seeing the thing about the water. Like I saw that they were poisoning the water, and I saw, and that's when, Mother Nature called me outside and all that shit. But that's when my trip started, So then, I was like, okay, so apparently I'm done with the collective. Okay, now my turn. So I started feeling like really bad acid reflux. And I suffer from acid reflux. Like I've always had acid reflux. Just really, really bad, like burning, and it's always burned here. And I know for some people when they say acid reflux, like heartburn, so they feel it like down here. No, mine's always been like right here in my throat chakra. And I was watching Heal, a documentary on Amazon Prime, and it talks about how like all of your trauma manifests itself physically in the body. And they mentioned when you get acid reflux, it's because you have like anger inside of you. And so that's how acid reflux feels. It feels like it's burning inside of you. And so you have manifested your anger into acid reflux. So right away I knew. I was like, okay, this isn't just like regular acid reflux. This is like a ball of fire that's in me that needs to get out because of 35 years of anger that needs to get out. So I was like, all right, time to get this shit out. That I don't even know. It was like so trapped inside me, and I was like I was like hitting my chest. I'm like trying to burp myself. I'm like, man, I'm like trying to get it out. And I would like do little burps, but it just like, man, it just so stuck. So then there was one of the staff members walking around, and I'm like, hey, I know this is going to sound really weird, but do you think you can hit my back? Because I feel like I have to burp, but I can't get it out. And he was like, hold on, I know what you need. And so, told you guys. So he went and got this guy, Tony, who worked on me last time. I think I told you guys about him. So last time I had my my stomach was really fucked up too. And it wasn't acid reflux though. It was like I was on the toilet like the entire time. So he did a lot of energy work on me, and he was able to subside my pain. He pulled a lot out of me, and it was great. And we had just had before ceremony. Oh my god, I can still feel it. Before ceremony, fuck. Sorry guys, it's like right here. Before ceremony, we had done a Reiki class, and Tony was there, and I had told, and Joe was there, and Joe's the one who helped me with being like, remember you have lungs. And they were both there, and I mentioned in the class how they both are like have healing hands. They both helped me so much. So it was, convenient that the guy was like, let me get Tony for you, because he wasn't in the class. So he went and got Tony for me, and Tony comes over, and he does his like energy work on me. He had me lay down on my back, and he starts to like pull it out of me, but he also started like pushing down on like my stomach, and we could feel where the gas was like trapped, and it was like moving around in there. And then it felt so painful, like when you would push down, I'm like, ah, and he was like, I can feel it, and so he started like pushing it up, he was like down here, and he's like, going like that so that it could get out of me. So I'm like, okay. And then he was like, okay, sit up and it should start coming out now. And so I like sit up, and I'm like, it's like start to come out. And so it's not like, at this point, it's not like a deep purging. It was like this like little bits of fireballs that needed to get out, that I'm like, okay, like, getting it out. And so he's like, yep, there you go. Like, get it out, but I couldn't really get it fully. And then he was like, hold on, I'm gonna get you a hair tie. And I was like, oh, I actually have one. And I put my hair up, and he was like, okay, Alex. And before he could say anything else, I'm like, oh, in the bucket, like purging. He's like, there you go. And he's like, enjoy your journey. And I'm like, thank you, Tony, love you, you're the best. As I'm like, in my bucket. So I'm like purging in my bucket, and I'm like, okay, good, I'm getting it out, and then I was like sober before, I was just like feeling all this stuff, but it wasn't like a body or head high. But the minute I started purging, I felt the effects, and so I got like lightheaded and dizzy and like weak. So I was like, fuck, I gotta go to the bathroom again. And so, which I gotta go to the bathroom right now. So I asked for help. And so I had to get another staff member. And I'm like, can you help me to the bathroom? And she was like, yeah. So she helps me to the bathroom inside. Thank God, inside. Because we come inside, and I go to the bathroom, and I'm like, oh, my stomach. Like, before we can even close the door, I'm like, oh, my stomach. And I close the door, and I like run to the toilet, and I have my bucket with me. And I'm like, whoa, like purging in my bucket while it's coming out the other end at the same exact time. It's like, this is what happens to me. This is what happened to me on combo, like both ends, which I haven't told you guys the combo story. I need to do that. Both ends. And then the first night, both ends. And every time, both ends. So I'm like, oh my God, this is like painful. So I was like, okay, I understand. I have a lot of shit literally inside me that needs to get the fuck out. So I'm like purging, like, again, from the depths of my soul, like, in the bucket, like hard fucking core. And so that's when I'm like, I start just talking out loud and realizing like, hey, you have a lot of anger inside you. You have a lot of resentment. You're holding on to a lot. You have to let it go. You have to let it go, because I know that you want to see all of this like beautiful stuff and heaven and bliss, but you can't skip steps. You have to go through the work. You got to figure this shit out, let it go, and then we can get there. You can't just jump ahead. And so it like clicked, I'm like, okay, I can't just skip steps. I have to do this. So I started like thinking about my mom, because I know that it's about my mom. So Mom, if you're watching this, I went through a lot of pain. I keep going through a lot of pain because of the trauma that I have from you, but I'm working on it. And I kept telling myself, hey, you cannot hold on to this, because you picked her to be your mom so that this could happen, so that you could be here right now. okay? And had you not picked her and she hadn't, done the things that she had done, then you wouldn't be where you are now. You had to go through this. So stop being angry. Stop being angry. You literally asked her to do this before you came here. You picked her. You said, I'm going to pick you so that you can do all this shit to me and so that I can become the person I am, because this is my purpose. Like, I have to go through this. So you're just mad that she's playing her role very well, okay? She's playing a role and she's playing it well. And it's like, it's not that I want to be... It's not like it just happened when I was a kid, though, because it's like to this day, if I didn't have her blocked, she'd be attacking me because she did. That's why I blocked her. But it was just like, I was like, okay, stop being angry. Stop holding on to it. You have to let it go. So I just kept saying, like, out loud while I'm like vomiting, I'm like, you got to let it go, get it out of you, blah, blah, blah. And then at that point, like, Joe knocks on the door and kind of cracks it open. She's like, hey, how you doing? And I'm like, okay, I'm just letting out a lot of shit. And then she's like, okay, like, that's fine, like, we do our thing, but process, but just making sure you're good. And I'm like, yeah. And then I was like letting out more, and then finally wrap it up. And when Tony had started doing the like energy work on me, the shaman had called for a second cup. Obviously, I'm like in the middle of fucking doing this like purging shit, so I didn't go get a second cup. And I didn't want to do a second cup. I didn't want to do a second cup since the beginning. I was like, I only want to do one cup tonight. I don't want to do two. And then especially with the shit I was feeling inside me. And so I come out of the bathroom and Joe's like, good job. You did so good. You let out so much. And I'm like, I know. And I was like so weak because my whole body had like been through it. And she was like, all right, let's go for a second cup. And I was like, Joe, I cannot do a second cup. And she was like, no, that's why you're here. And I was like, no, I literally cannot do a second cup. And I didn't explain it to her. Well, I did tell her, I was like, there's still more inside me that needs to get out. And she's like, yeah, so if you drink another cup, it'll come out. I'm like, no, you don't understand. Because it's like, if I had drank a second cup, it would have like taken me back to the bathroom again. And my body was so weak at this point. I was like losing so many electrolytes and everything. Like, I was like so weak. I was like, I can't do a second cup. And it's also because I feel it right here. It was like a blockage. So I was like, if I try to do a second cup right now, it's like oil and water. That's how it was feeling in my head. I'm like, right now I can't do a second cup because this needs to come out first before I can try to put something else down in there. And so she was like being like, well, I don't want you to like have any, oh, I should have, I could have, or what ifs. And I was like, I know, but I'm so tired, Joe. And I like had put my head on the counter, and she's like, I know. And I was like, just thinking about a second cup right now, it's gonna make me throw up. And I had the bucket there, and I was like, ooh, I was like gagging. And she's like, okay. And she's like, let's get you back to the mat. We'll worry about second cup later, or maybe you can do 2 cups tomorrow, because like, she's like, there's a reason for the dosage. And I'm like, and then she's like, will you do 2 cups tomorrow? I was like, we'll see how I feel. And she was like, well, just remember, it's like the dosage, the proper dosage, right? But I'm not going to make you do anything. You do whatever you want. And I just knew that my body just could not handle another cup. It was like, no, the thought of it, like, I absolutely not. So we go back to the mat, and then, I'm trying to think. So she was like, oh, in case you change your mind, like, let me know. I'll bring you another cup. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to change my mind. At this point, I'm so tired. So I'm like, okay, great. I can sleep now. So I like lay down. But no. That ball of fire wanted to sit right here and felt like I was going to like choke on my vomit if I was laying down. So I'm like, at this point, it's like 12:30. I was like, wow, it's so early. Okay, well, maybe I could get this out and go to bed. No. So I was like, okay. So I get up, and I'm like, I spent, like, no joke, 3 hours trying to get this shit out of me. And some of it would come out. Like, I was on all fours, like, dry heaving, like, over my bucket, like, trying to get it out, rocking back and forth, like every position, holding my hands over my head, like doing whatever I could to get this shit out of me. And at one point I even had to ask for like a staff member. I'm like, can you please like burp me, pretty much, because it's stuck in there. And so she was like hitting my back, and it was like starting to come up, and again, what was coming up was like little balls of fire. It's like I would spit up just like little balls of fire of acid. It was straight acid, straight like stomach bile. So I was thinking, because I had eaten a muffin before ceremony, and I was like, is it because I ate that muffin? Because I ate a muffin in the morning and I was fine, but now I like, all I feel is acid reflux. And then also I was thinking, oh, maybe it was like the ayahuasca, because it was hot and it like burned going down. It was really hot, and so it burned going down. So I was like, oh, maybe that's what it is. But I also just knew that it's like the anger built up inside me, so I was like, okay. And so my hair is such a mess, bro. Okay, so she burped me for a bit. I let it out. The musicians would come around and like do like, this shit on me, play their instruments above my head, and it would trigger it, and I would start letting it out. And this was for like 3 hours. Just, I'm like, get out of me, get out. It's like every time I thought it was almost done, no, there was more. So later, I had asked the girl again. I'm like, can you burp me again? And so she came over, but at this time there was another staff member next to her, and she stopped her, and she was like, and she like waved her over, and she was like, oh, she has like trapped gas. She asked me earlier to like burp her, and she was like, I think she told her like, no, they have to do it on their own, because technically they're not supposed to touch us or help us, because we have to go through this alone. So I think that's what was happening. Well, I think that's what she told her, like, no, you have to let her do it. And I was like, I wasn't gonna get mad, because I was like, I know that that's part of the plan. Oh, I wonder if I could just leave this here and hopefully it won't fall. So if it falls, sorry. So I was like, okay, that's fine, I get it, I have to do it on my own, right? So I'm like trying, and I kept getting this like feeling of being like, go talk to the shaman and ask him for help. But then I was like, I don't want to ask him for help, because what if he makes me drink a second cup, and I really cannot drink a second cup right now. But then I was like, you're gonna have to talk to him, because you need his help to get this out. And so finally I just did it. I was like, I have to go talk to him, because I couldn't get it out on my own. So I get up and I walk up to him, and I was like, I need your help. And he was like, you can't purge. And I was like, it's like a ball of fire sitting in my chest, and I know it's from anger. I know it's built up anger. I cannot get it out. And he was like, okay, I need you to drink water. So he gets me a water bottle, and I drink like half of the water bottle. And he was like, we're going to get this out, but you just have to drink water first. I'm like, okay. So we drink I drink water, and then he brings out his little rapé thing. Okay, for those of you who don't know what rapé is, it is like it is a tobacco that gets shot up your nose. So it's like this pipe, and then the tobacco will be in it, and he'll be like, and it'll go into your nose. And I 100% do not want to do this. Like, the first time that we did ayahuasca, I watched people do that, and I was like, how the fuck not? I'm not doing this. And people have described it as like, it's like fire in your head. And so I was like, no. And because I'm really sensitive with my nose, like, people know, like, don't touch my nose. Like, I've always had really bad allergies. My nose is very, very, very sensitive, and I've had like sinus issues. So I was like, hell no. And they literally said, like, if you have sinus issues, you probably shouldn't do the rapid. So when he pulled it out, he starts doing his prayer. I was like, wait, what is this? And he was like, we're going to do rapid. I was like, no, please, I really don't want to do rapid. Please, I have really bad sinuses. He's like, it's okay, it's good for your sinuses. I don't know if it is, but he was like, you're going to do it. And I was like, and he was like, trust. And I was like, wait, I'm so scared. What do I do? And he was like, don't breathe. Okay, just hold your breath, and I'm going to blow it up your nose. And I'm like, I was like freaking the fuck out, bro. I felt like the tears coming already. And then he did it like so fast, and he goes, oh my God. It was like when you get water up your nose, but with fire. Okay. It was like, my brain exploded. I felt it through like all here, just like fire. And I was like, and like I didn't scream loud. I was up on the stage at this point, by the way, where he's like doing his ceremonies, and I was like and I just start crying, and the tears are like rolling, and I'm in my bucket. I'm like and he's like, okay, other nostril, and I'm like, what? And he was like, you need balance. And I was like, and I did need balance because it really, you can only feel it on one. So then he does the other one, and it was like and it did balance out, but it was like my head, and I was like and I was like I was like in my bucket, but like I wasn't throwing up yet, but I was just like and it was like I don't even know how to describe it. It was like literally fire in my head, up my nose, through everything, and it just like makes you like so lightheaded and dizzy, and like I lost all function of like my body. Like I wanted to just like I thought I was gonna pass out. I don't know how people do it standing up. Like people will go up there, get it done, and then walk back to their mat. I'm like, I legit had like no strength at all. And then he was like, live in the anger, like be in the anger, like let it out, like it's okay to be angry. And I just was crying, and I was like, can I blow my nose? And he was like, yeah. And I like blew my nose, and it's just like brown or black because of the tobacco. And I'm like like I can feel the weakness in me. I'm just like and then it starts coming out, and he's like, yep, like let it out. And I'm just like and it's like coming again, like so, like my whole body is like jerking into the bucket, and I'm like crying, and I'm shaking, and I'm like I can't even hold the bucket, and I'm just like it was so bad, and my whole body turned to fire. I am sweating profusely. I'm like, oh my God, I can't breathe. But I didn't have the strength to like take my sweater off. I had sweats and my socks and my sweater and my hoodie, and I didn't have the strength to take it off. And so I was like, oh my God, I need help. I need help. And so then there was like one of the staff members was up on the stage, and I was like, oh, can you help me? And he came over, and I'm like, I have to take the sweater off. I'm sweating. So he pulled the sweater off me, and I'm like drenched within seconds. Like I was drenched in sweat, and I'm like, oh my God. It was like so hot, and like, it's not hot. Like obviously we're all wearing sweats. So I was just like, oh my God. And then I'm like, I'm like so weak, and then my legs are like sweating profusely, but then I'm like, I don't have the strength to take off my pants, and I have shorts underneath. They tell you to layer. That's why you want to layer, because you never know how your body's going to react to anything. So I have shorts underneath, and then I really needed more paper towels to keep blowing my nose, and there was nobody around. And then at this point, like Vitaly had drank, but I think he was not really in the medicine at this point, and he got up, and I was like, Vitaly, and then he like walked. I was like, and I pointed at the paper towels, and he like ripped off a bunch of paper towels, and I was just like blowing my nose and like spitting out the tobacco, like go on, whatever, and then one of the other staff members walks by, and I ask her, because she's a girl, I'm like, can you help me take my pants off? I have shorts on underneath. I just have to take my pants off. I'm dying. And she was like, okay, yeah. So she helped me take my pants off, and she's like, let's move to the grass. It'll cool you down. And I was like, I think I have to poop. Like I felt it. And she's like, okay, let's go to the bathroom first. So I go to the bathroom, and I let out what I can, and I still feel it in my chest. And so after I'm done with that, we go to the grass. I go to the grass, and I'm just sitting in the grass, and she's like, did you purge it out? And I was like, no, there's still more in there. And she was like, okay, drink water, it'll help. So I drink some water, and I'm just like over the bucket, like trying to get it out, and it's just still stuck in there. I'm like, dude, I just want to fucking sleep. What a great night it would have been if I could have just slept, right? So then the sprinklers were gonna come on at this point, because it's like, about to be, I don't know, like 4 a.m. at this point. So then they have to move everybody that was on the grass back to their mats. So then I go back to my mat, and then I'm like, okay, well, I can't lay down because I still feel this burning inside me. And I was like dead set on not going to sleep until I get this shit out, because I know that I've done it for years with my acid reflux, is I just sleep it off and I suppress it, and that's like burning in my esophagus. And I think, like, I don't know if I have ulcers, but at one point I thought that I did have ulcers, because I was getting a lot of the symptoms because of acid reflux. And so I was like, I can't, I just couldn't sleep it off. I refused to sleep it off. So I was like, you're gonna get out of me. I'm not just gonna go to sleep and suppress you. Like, you're gonna get out. So I'm like sitting here like trying to push it out again. And then one of the helpers walks by, which is the one that helped me with like taking my pants off. And I told her, I was like, I explained it to her. I was like, I know that it is like a ball of fire of anger, and I just like need to get it out. And she was like, and what's underneath the anger? And I was like, I don't know. And she was like, think. And I was like, I know that it's love because it's my mom. It's anger towards my mom. And she was like, okay, I got you. She was like, connect back to the child version of you. And she's like, what is under the anger? And I was like, I'm just really hurt. And she was like, okay, let's sit in the pain. Think about the pain. And I just got like sad, and like I didn't cry, but I had like underneath my eyelids, they were watery. And I was like, can I hug you? And she was like, yeah. And she gave me a hug, and then she's like, I'm gonna sit behind you and I'm gonna hold you like a baby. And I was like, okay. So she comes up behind me and she wraps her arms around me, and then she had me kind of lay like kind of across. And I was just so uncomfortable because, one, I had my hair in a bun, which was like right here, so it was like in the way, so my head was like propped up. Two, because of the wrapping, I felt like so much pressure in my neck and in my shoulders. It was still in there. And she was like, get comfortable. And I was like, oh, I'm so uncomfortable with this pressure. And I took my hair down and everything. And she's like, I know. And then she's like, just listen to the music and connect to your inner child, connect to before the pain started, So I'm like sitting here thinking and, connecting, and I'm just like sad. And she's just like, rubbing like, my hair and whatever. And I'm just like, just sad. And because I was like, you know what would be nice if my mom could just love me for me and not try to like change who I am. And she will say, oh, I love you no matter what. But her actions say otherwise. Because when she's blowing me up, my phone, and telling me I have demons inside me, doesn't sound like you love me no matter what. And also when you want me to believe what you believe, doesn't sound like you love me no matter what. It sounds like you want to control me and make me be the version that you want me to be, and then you'll love me. So I was like, if you could just love me for me and accept me, this would all be better. But no. So now I have to deal with the pain and suffering because you don't want to accept me for me. And a lot of people are like, oh, well, it's not about them. It's about you, that you don't need their acceptance. And it's like, okay, but it's my mom. And I hurt because I love her. And I would like for her to love me unconditionally, no matter what. But no, there are conditions to her love. And so it's hurtful. And I don't want to get to the point where I'm just like, I just don't give a shit 100% about her opinion. And I know that that's what people say. It's like, oh, it's like you got to get to the indifference. But I'm like, I don't want to, because then I feel like I've made such a disconnect, and like that it doesn't affect me, that it's like I'm still human. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm still human. I still my mom. So it would be nice if, you know what I'm saying? Like it just would be so much easier if she could just accept me for me. But I can't control her. So anyway, she is like, hey, just like sit in it and don't force it out. It'll come out when it has to, just lay down. So I lay down, but as I'm laying down, it's like I can feel it like right here. Like it felt like there was like vomit sitting here, and I was just like swallowing it every time. So, when you get really bad acid reflux, it feels like it comes up and down. So that's what it was feeling like. So I was like, so I was like, oh my God. And so I kept like, at that point, I think I like dozed off for a little bit. Oh my God, it hurts so bad. At that point, I like dozed off for a minute, and but I still, because obviously it's still happening right now. So I was like, oh my God, this is exhausting, bro. So around like, I want to say like 5 a.m., one of the staff was walking by, and I was like, hey, do you know if anyone can help me? I have tried to get this fucking gas bubble out of me. At first, it was like an anger, like a ball of fire. But it doesn't feel that way anymore. And it doesn't feel that way right now. Like there is burning, but I just feel like the gas bubble in my chest. So sorry guys, but like this is in real time. This is what's really happening. You're getting the raw footage, okay? So he was like, okay, give me a minute. Like he's like, let me tap into you. So he taps in and he was like, okay, can you describe what you're feeling? And I said, it feels like there's a bubble of air that's floating around in me, and then it keeps coming up, and before it gets here, and then it goes back down, and then it floats around, and then it gets here, and then it goes back down. And he was like, okay, and how, the fact that you can't get it out, how does that make you feel? And I was like, it makes me feel like I have no control, because I kept telling my body like, hey, this isn't your body. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I was telling the fireball, this isn't your body. This is my body. Like you don't get to just live in here. I don't want you in here anymore. I want you to get out. I'm in control, but it just wouldn't get out. So then I told him, I feel like I don't have any control. And he was like, right. So, and I was like, which is what this whole thing is about, because I know that all tonight has been is about my mom, who I felt like I had no control because she just wanted to control everything that I did. And also, I told him this, also my mom used to tell me that she just felt like she had this like gas bubble stuck inside her and like couldn't get it out, and was like, oh, I just feel gas like trapped in my chest, and she couldn't get it out. So I was like, so now I'm feeling what my mom felt. And he was like, right. So make the connection, okay? So you are now feeling what your mom felt inside her, and because she was holding on to this is the reason that she acted the way she did. When people feel like they're not in control, then they try to control the things that they can. And so when she felt like I knew what he was saying, and he doesn't know the story of my mom, but I knew that it's like because she felt like she had no control over situations and trauma that happened to her, then she was going to try to control anything that she could around her to feel in control, because she's not in control of her emotions and herself, because she's not looking within. She's looking outside of her. What is wrong with everyone else instead of looking within, mom? So she's looking at everyone else and being like, what's wrong with everyone? Lots of projection, instead of being like, what is wrong with me? Let me heal myself. Let me go back to my inner child when nobody was there for me. Let's talk to that little version of me when I got abandoned at this age, when I felt unheard, when nobody cared about me. That's the stuff that she's dealing with, that she refuses to tap into. She doesn't want to deal with it. So she's then is like, okay, let me control everyone around me. If I can control the world around me, then everything will be okay. And it's like, no, you need to control yourself. You need to look within, because you can't control the outside. So of course I made that connection. And then he goes, okay, so he was telling, like, going through the chakras, and he's like, the crown chakra and the root chakra are connected. The throat chakra and the solar plexus, which I don't want to move the camera, but your solar plexus is right in between your rib cage, like right in the pit of your stomach. That's your solar plexus. He was like, your solar plexus and your throat chakra are connected. And if you can't open up the pathway for those, then it's essentially like how I was feeling with like if I drank ayahuasca, it was like oil and water. So I was like, so he's like, breathe and like open up your chakras. Don't worry so much about the throat chakra. Open up your solar plexus, open up your heart, because the heart is connecting all of it. So open up your heart, take a deep breath, slow, don't rush it, and just like sit in it and like be okay with it, because it's okay to feel this, pain and hurt, and feel what she's feeling. Now I feel like I'm gonna get emotional. And it just made so much sense. And I told him, yeah, you know, I had this issue with Bufo, which I haven't told you guys that story either. I need to make a video about my Campo Bufo experience. But on Bufo, Bufo is a frog poison that you smoke, and we were supposed to smoke it for 20 seconds straight, and I could not because I don't smoke. So it would get stuck right here, this spot, like the throat chakra, dude, because I know my throat chakra is so defined. These freaking entities are doing anything to silence me. Anything that they fucking can to shut me the fuck up. So when I was trying to smoke, it would get stuck right here and I would just cough and cough and cough. And so, but it was because after it finally hit, because, okay, so when we started, Susie, who does the Bufo, said, so it's DMT, so it's about 5 to maybe 20 or 30 minutes, depends on your trip. People usually have like an ego death and then like see 7 levels of heaven or whatever, see God, and everything's fine, or they just go to the good, or they, you know, experience death so that like they can get over their fear, whatever the case may be. And she goes, but there are some people who throw up on it, and if you throw up on it, it's because you're holding a lot in your solar plexus. And I was like, what's the solar plexus? Like, I didn't know what the solar plexus represented. And the solar plexus, come to find out, I find out later, I didn't know at the time because I didn't ask, your solar plexus has to do with judgment, feeling judged, and like confidence, right? Because it's kind of your ego. Your solar plexus is like your ego. It's right in the center of everything. So, when I finally, I was trying to smoke and I couldn't get through the 20 seconds, and I got really frustrated because, you know, it got like a lot of pressure. Like everybody had their trip and she had like used like so much on me and I couldn't get it. And I felt like I was wasting it. And so then I just started crying, and Emily was with me, and Emily is the one from ayahuasca the first time. And she was like, oh, what's wrong? And I was like crying on the mat, and I was like, I'm so frustrated. I'm like so angry at myself. I don't understand why I can't do it. Everybody else can do it. Why can't I? And then I just told her how like I was like, I don't want to feel judged. And then she's like, judged by who? And I was like, I just don't want to feel judged. Like, I feel judged by everyone. And she's like, nobody here is judging you. And I'm like, not here, but like, I was like, it sucks to have the support of millions of people, but I can't have the support from my own fucking family, like my own parents. I'm like, and you know, even with my sister, like I felt like she was judging me for doing all this stuff, which she'll say she's not, but I just felt the judgment, and that could be my own projection, like my own perception that I'm feeling judged. I felt like I had imposter syndrome, so I was just like, I just feel so judged. And she was like, okay, nobody here is judging you. And honestly, that's your own issues. Like, nobody's judging you. It's just you doing this to yourself. You have to let it go. You have to let go of what people are thinking about you. And I'm like, I know. And so she's like, by the way, this is the medicine working in you, even though you haven't really smoked. And I was like, I know. And so then she was like, do you want to try again? Or do you want to do it another day? Which, by the way, that's pretty much the whole Bufo story. But I'll probably put it in a separate video for people who haven't watched this one. And I was like, no, I want to try again. So then Susie came over and she goes, hey, let's try something different. Why don't we do 3 breaths of 10 instead of a long breath of 20? I was like, I think that'll work, because I also take very shallow breaths. You know that. Until last night, where I felt like I purged it out and I could take a deep breath again. But my whole life has just been very shallow breaths. So we did 3 breaths of 10, and then within the third one, I was like, oh, I like laid down, and she's like, she's gone. No, I wasn't. Within a second, I was, a bucket, I need a bucket. So they give me a bucket, and I'm purging. The whole time I was just like, get out of me. And I could feel like an entity that it was in my solar plexus pulling down, and I'm like, get out. And I like purged and purged and purged, and I was like, yeah, so turns out that the solar plexus has to do with judgment. And so I was like, oh, makes sense that I was feeling judged beforehand and that I vomited. And so it's all connected. Okay, so now with him being like the solar plexus and the throat chakra are the ones that are connected, I'm like, that makes sense, because this is what happened to me during Bufo. And now it's happening to me here, where like it's connected. So he was like, just sit in it. It's okay. Don't push it out. It'll come out when it's supposed to. Open up your heart chakra. open up your solar plexus. Don't worry so much about the throat chakra because it's a smaller chakra. If you open up your other chakras, it'll help, not be so attacked. And I'm like, okay. And then he was like, I told him, I was like, man, I just wish my mom could love me for me and not try to control me. And he was like, I know, but have you ever thought that you're your mom's mom? Like your soul is older than hers? I was like, yeah, I know I am. And he was like, right, that's how I see it too. So just remember that you're showing her what love is. You're going to show her what unconditional love is. And I'm like, I know. And so I'm like, oh, it's just so annoying. It's like every time I do this stuff, it goes back to her. And he was like, yep, that's what the medicine does, especially ayahuasca. It's Mama Aya. She's going to show you that. And I'm like, it makes me not want to drink. And he's like, I know. I'm like, I don't want to drink anymore. And like, we're going to drink again today. And I'm like, I don't want to. And so he's like, I know, it's work. You got to do the work. And so he was like, just don't worry. Because I also told him, I'm like, the positive is that my mom watches my stuff. Even though she hates it, she's like a martyr. She likes to just like self-torture. And so, she watches my stuff to then be angry. But I'm hoping that through my videos, she can understand more and see that I'm doing this to heal. And also she can heal herself. And he was like, don't worry about her healing. Only worry about yours. And I was like, I know. I keep having to remind myself that her soul is on her own journey. I cannot control it. I cannot control it. I cannot fix it. He was like, exactly. Stop trying to fix everything, because I feel like how my mom feels like she has to control everything. I feel like I can fix everything, and like I have to fix everything for everyone. So, well, I mean, because I also felt like that growing up, like, okay, let me do what makes other people happy because then they'll love me. So if I can fix the problems and I can fix everything, that takes me. I've also been doing hypnotherapy. And last session, we worked on self-worth. And we went back into like the hypnotherapy into when my whole feelings of like unworthiness started. And it went back to like as early as 3, maybe even younger, because I was born with my like pigeon toed, and so I had to wear special boots to straighten my feet out, and also I couldn't roll my R's, so then my aunt would like pay me money to like roll my R's. So like at a young age I was already thinking I was broken, right? Like I'm already thinking like, oh, I have to fix these things about me and then it'll be better. So, and I'm a kid, like I don't know the difference, right? I don't realize that they're just doing it to like help me speak better and help me walk better, not have issues. But as a kid, in my little childlike brain, I'm thinking, oh, I'm broken, I have to be fixed. So I figured that out during hypnotherapy. And so this is a lot of for all the work I'm doing. It's so hard. Like it is so rough, all the stuff I'm doing, and I'm like, I just don't want to feel pain anymore. But when I was purging in the bathroom, I told myself, you want to see this glory like heaven, but you have to go through this first. You have to do the work. You can't skip steps. You want to get to the finish line without doing the work, and you can't. You have to work through it. And so I'm like, oh my God, this sucks. And I realized that the first ayahuasca session was more about figuring out my purpose. Okay, so it showed me like why I'm here, to help humanity ascend so that humanity doesn't destroy itself for a 7th fucking time. It showed me why I'm here. It showed me what they showed me before I came. It showed me that, okay? I relived my birth. I had to relearn everything pretty much. I had to learn how to ask for help because I never asked for help. And then it, the second day it showed me or the third day, which was my second day because nothing happened day 1, it showed me, how they're trying to, the negative energies are trying to kill humanity with the water and how we're killing the earth. So it was all about my purpose. Okay. My purpose is to help everything and everyone heal. So again, it's kind of hard not to want to fix everything when you know your purpose is to help humanity heal, and that you're going to take on a lot of the pain for the collective so that the collective can heal. Which, if you guys haven't seen my, I don't know if I included that in it. I've shown screenshots of what my spirit guide said during my Akashic record reading, and they said that like my religious trauma, healing my religious trauma is part of the healing that I'm doing for the collective. And if you guys don't know Taylor, who does the tarot readings, she told me a lot of the people that come to me from you are all healing religious trauma. So I do believe that that's my purpose. That's why I picked my mom, because I knew she was going to put me through this bullshit of religious trauma so that I could help the collective. So I knew that I was like, I have to go through this shit, right? Like I have to go through this. So after that, he just told me like, yeah, just sit in it, like lay down, relax. It'll come out when it's supposed to. After he made that connection for me, I was like, oh, thank you. Like that actually makes sense. So I was able to fall asleep for a couple hours. It got to the point where it subsided enough to where it wasn't like burning me. So I was like, okay, I was able to sleep for a couple hours. And then they kind of woke everyone up with like the singing and chanting and kind of stuff. So that's when I got up, but I can still feel it. It's still sitting in my chest, this bubble. And I saw Courtney, who runs Hummingbird Church, and I told her how I had to do rapé, and she was like, he made you do rapé? I was like, girl, it's the worst thing. She's like, it's the worst thing ever. And I kind of gave her a rundown, and I was like, I just want to have a good experience. Like, I want to feel love. I want to feel bliss. I want to see heaven. And she was like, it takes time. It does take time. She said, because you can't experience that until you work through this. And I was like, I know. I literally said that to myself last night. She was like, I've been doing plant medicine for 5 years, and I didn't have a good experience until a year ago. I'm like, fuck me. And then I was like thinking that, I'm like, dude, this is 35 years of trauma. Like, it's not going to be done in a day. It's not. And just when you think like, oh, I'm doing so much better, like I'm good. No, there's still so much more healing to do. There's always going to be more healing to do. One of the ladies here is like 60s, and she's been doing it since she was 13. And I'm like, really? Like, do you ever feel like it's over? She's like, it's never over. Mama Aya is always going to have something to show you every time. And it's beautiful every time. You learn every time. And this was before a ceremony, and I was like, I really hope I see something good. She's like, it'll be good. Whatever it is, it's going to be good. And it's like, this is physically not good, like in the moment, but it is physically good for the future, because I'm healing myself. I have to get this out. And, yeah, I just knew that. Well, and so like the first time it showed me my purpose, it's like, let's go to the beginning. Okay, let's go to the beginning. Let's talk about why you're here. This is why you're here. Okay, you saw that? And that was all visuals. I haven't had no visuals this time. That was all visuals, all in the astral, spiritual, telepathically connecting with people. It was like, I got a sense of like consciousness. I got a sense of that. And also in that one, since we were inside the barn, I felt like the energy was very tight knit. And so like we were all one. This time it hasn't been like that. I think maybe because we're out in the open. So it's very interesting how different it is. And so I was like, okay, I get that. So now in this session, this is about you now. Okay. So we saw why you're here, what your purpose is. Oh my God. Excuse me. We saw why you're here. You saw why you're here. You saw what your purpose is. You got some clarity on that. Okay, now we have to heal you. Right now, in this moment, it's like it went from like a level, like this. Now we're here. We have to work on this so that we can get over here. So let's work on that. Let's work on healing this and getting this all out before we can go on. And I'm like, how much longer is this going to take? Wow. I didn't think I was going to talk for an hour on this story, but I'm glad that I am doing it in real time so that you guys know what's going on. So I'm really hungry, but I also have really bad burping. right there. Oh my God, it hurts so bad. It's right here. I want to get it out. So, oh, this horrible feeling. Feeling like I have to burp and I can't get it out. And then we're going to be drinking soon. I don't want to do it, you guys. I don't want to. I hope it's not hot this time because that's the shit that fucked me up. The hotness of it. I don't like it when it's hot. So anyway, that's what happened last night and this morning. Wish me luck for the third one. And I really hope I don't have to do 2 cups. Joe better not push me to do 2 cups. I hope that 1 cup is enough, but I gotta do what I gotta do. I gotta still let the shit out of me. So yeah. Also, I wanted to say that I did talk to some more people, and got their stories. A lot of them are my followers. So, hey guys, and a pattern that I noticed is that everybody got stuck in loops. Everybody. Like the first person I told you about got stuck in a loop of addiction. Another girl said she got stuck in a loop of like seeing the circus, and she was like, I just kept seeing like the circus. I kept seeing like geometric shapes and colors, and this like wheels, like donut wheels, like that are like infinity and like never end. And she like got stuck in that a loop of that over and over and over. There was another girl who got stuck in a loop of like sexual abuse, and she was like, she didn't want to see it. She's the first one that had like a freak out where she was like, no, I don't want to. And it's because she told me later, she's like, I just didn't want to see it, like, because I didn't know if it was like, did this happen to me and she blocked it out, or is this like a generational thing? Like, why am I seeing this? She was like, I don't want to see this. So she got stuck in a loop of that. And then another girl, she was like, I didn't get stuck in a visual loop. I got stuck in a physical loop. She noticed that she like wanted to get up, use the bathroom, walk around, had the urge to talk to people, but knew she couldn't talk to people, went back to her mat and like, you know, kind of just like laid down, and then had to get up, go to the bathroom, walk around, had the urge to talk to people, couldn't talk to people, laid back in her mat. And then she did that like 6 times. And then she was like, this is getting old. So it's interesting that everybody says they get stuck in a loop for about 6 times, and before they realize that they're stuck in this loop and can break out of it. And I'm like, that's because that's what humanity has been doing. We've been stuck in this loop for 6 times, and we're finally hoping to get out of it. So that was an interesting find, interesting connection that I made. So definitely you know, be aware for what the loops are in your generations, you know, in your lineage. If it's addiction, if it's sexual abuse, if it's physical abuse, whatever the case may be, there's usually a pattern that we're here to break. We all are here to break a pattern. Oh my God, my stomach. It's like I'm starving, but I don't want to eat anything because I know it's going to give me more acid reflux. So, yeah, that's why we're here. We have to break these loops. We have to break out of the cycle. Also, if you haven't watched Westworld, watch Westworld, because it explains perfectly the loops that we're getting humanity stuck in. Anyways, so I'm gonna get off here, and I will update you guys after the next one. Bye. Oh my God, you guys. Okay, so it is 12:30, and we start ceremony in a couple hours. But I just got this like spooning work done on me. I'll show you guys a little bit. I don't know if you guys can see because I don't have eyes in the back of my head, but it's like, yeah, pretty freaking intense. So hopefully you guys can see that. Sorry, oh, I can't see anything, but hold on. See what I can do here. I don't know if that's working. Anyway, okay. I'm sure you guys will see pictures at some point, but it's all over my back and all over my chest and shoulders and everything. So it's this girl Sarah who comes to the Ayahuasca with Hummingbird Church, and she does it while, you know, we're here. She does it for people if they want a session done. And she asked me if I wanted to do one because I told, you know, I was talking about how I still have that gas stuck in me. And she was like, oh, well, like my type of work will help with that. And I didn't want to do it because I didn't want to be all bruised up. But like, dude, I can't get this fucking burp out. So I'm like, okay, I'll do it. So she worked on me for an hour, and oh my god, it was so intense, bro. And she was like, just let out like whatever comes, you know, don't like hold back. And at first, of course, you know, I'm holding back. I'm like, oh, people are like listening to me. I don't want to be loud. But that's part of my issue, is like caring too much about, you know, if I'm too loud for other people, or if I'm, you know, I'm always like thinking about, I'm very self-aware. So I'm always like, oh, how is this being perceived? How are people feeling right now about what I'm doing? I'm always putting others' needs before my own. So she was like, I don't want you to think about that. Like, literally just let it go. And so I didn't even tell her that though, but she just knew. And so at first it took me a minute to really let go. But dude, once it starts, because she's really like working on the spots that needed to be worked on, because I was holding so much like resentment and anger and frustration and everything of my whole life pretty much. And it got to the point where I just like, I was bawling my eyes out, and I was screaming like like frustrated screaming, because I want to get this fucking shit out of me. And I know that it's rage. Like, I know that that's what it is. It's rage. And it's so funny because I just went to a rage room and I was like, I'm not angry anymore. But yeah, it's in there. I've just very much suppressed it because well, I mean, I've been healing, so, but there's still deep rooted in there rage, from, you know, from since I was a kid till now. So so I let that out, and it's crazy because my hair, she would be working on like my chest area, or like here, like, you know, where my solar plexus is, and I would feel it like in my fucking legs, in my back. It was crazy because everything's connected. And, you know, I told you guys earlier that the medicine was telling me that like I have to work on this, and it was like alignment, and that's exactly what we were doing, was aligning. So I don't know when, like, she wanted me to see her again in 2 weeks, but she's in LA and I'm in San Diego, so it's like a drive. So I was like, I don't think I could do that, but I'm gonna keep coming back for Hummingbird, so I'll do it here. And also I'm planning on being in LA like in September, so maybe I could do it while I'm there, because I'm also doing Bufo, so in a girls trip with Road to Roses and JK Ultra. So you know, I'll try to do it then. But oh my god. And so I can feel the burp start coming out now. It's slowly but surely coming out. There's still a little bit left in there, but it's starting to come out. But dude, that was so intense. Like, I don't even know how to explain it, but it's like she's releasing all of the baggage that you're carrying, you know? Like, sorry guys, it's still coming out. Like all of the baggage that you're holding on to, like all of the guilt and the anger, the frustration. Oh my god, I want to get this out of me so bad. And yeah, so I would highly recommend. Oh my god, my chest is burning, and I can like feel it in my back. But yeah, that's what she was saying. It's all just like rage and anger from, you know, my whole life. And I cried a lot because it was really weird, the stuff that like it triggered. So she was working on like my, you know, this side, my right side, and your right side is masculine energy. And so of course, like when I did Bufo, you know, this was my dad, this is my mom. So when she started working on it, I just like started thinking about my dad, and I was just like, I know I could put my sunglasses on, but then it'd be like that. And I don't know if you guys, I don't want you to be like looking at the phone. I think I just heard the person scream that's doing it right now. So anyway, I started thinking about my dad, and just like how hurt I am by him, because I just felt like he didn't have my back, like really, when I was growing up, because he, you know, just like let my mom, you know, be mean to me. And then he would tell her, like, hey, you know, you're gonna ruin your relationship with her and she's not gonna talk to you one day. And she just would tell him to shut up and that it wasn't his business, as if I wasn't his daughter. Like, he didn't make half of me. So I felt abandoned by him in that way. Because he didn't really stand up for me. Like, he tried and then he just gave up. I felt like he gave up on me. And then he was like around, but he wasn't like really there or involved, just financially. So I felt like that abandonment with him, and I was just crying because I was like, dude, like, I need you. I needed you and I need you, because recently I talked to him and we had a great conversation for like 3 hours and it was great. And you know, he was by himself, so he was like super chill. And then like then my mom got home and we hung up, and then it's like he went back to like defending her and being on her side after that. I'm like, dude, I just like opened up to you and told you so much shit, and like I feel like we had a good conversation, like talking like adults, and then you just go and throw it all out the window. So it's rough. And so then the song Butterfly Kisses came to my head, and I haven't heard that song since I was a kid. If you guys haven't heard it, like, go listen to it, because it used to make me cry as a kid all the time, so it started making me cry now. And then she started working on the left side, which is feminine, so of course I thought about my mom. And then I was just like, I can't do it anymore. Like, I can't carry your burden anymore. Like, I can't be feeling guilty because I want to be free of your chains. Like, you know, she kept telling me to like let it out, like whatever, the anger or scream or whatever, and I wouldn't. And she was like, you know, for someone who talks so much, your throat chakra is very closed. And I was like, I keep finding that out. I thought my throat chakra was very defined, but clearly it's still very closed and wants to be silenced. So yeah, she was just like, let it out. And you know, by the end of it, I was like raging, crying and everything. Oh, it was painful, but it was worth it, because it's just like releasing all that, you know. And I could feel my body getting back to itself, you know, realigning. And yeah, I just had to like be like, listen, like, I felt guilty. I told her, I was like, I don't want to feel guilty. And she was like, it's not your, you know, like, it's not your burden to carry, like, how they feel about what you're doing. That's their problem. They have to figure it out on their own, kind of thing. And it's true. Like, it's really not my problem if they don't like what I'm doing. Like, I'm an adult, I'm 35, and they've, you know, controlled every aspect of my life up until now. So I really shouldn't care. And like I said, like, they're just so focused on the outside that they're not looking within, which is what I was doing, was looking at the outside. Oh, I don't want people to like think I'm weird for yelling, or I don't want them looking at me when I'm crying, you know. But I had to just let it go and be like, you're here to heal, and so are all of these people, and none of these people give a shit. They're literally all working on themselves too. We're all fucked up. So I finally like let go, and it was really good. But I really hope that this ceremony is gonna be good, and that I don't want it to be rough. Please, God, let it be a good one. Yeah, but I highly recommend her. She's in Orange County in LA, if you guys are interested. And I invited her to the 9/11 meditation, so hopefully she'll go if she's available. So anyways, all right, guys, I'm gonna go do Reiki now, and yeah, I'll keep you guys posted. We'll see what happens next. Here we go. Okay, I'm officially back home. I'm back home, and it is Friday after ceremony, so which means that it's been a week since I did my first ceremony. Okay, I know you guys have been waiting for the update, so let me go ahead and give it to you. Again, I'm gonna be like looking at myself instead of the camera because it's so awkward. I don't know why this like looks so bad. Anyway, okay, so I didn't feel like putting any makeup on today. I'm like, you know what, the whole video I've done it without makeup. I'm not gonna put any makeup on, but I put my bracelets back on and my necklace. Okay, so last day was on Sunday, and You guys know that I had that huge like ball of fire inside me that I just could not get out. It literally felt like this just like ball of acid reflux that just didn't want to come out. It was so annoying. Sorry, I feel like I have to sneeze, and so I'm like keep messing with my nose so that I don't have to sneeze. Of course, the minute I turn the camera on. So I had this like ball of fire. I did the spooning, like I told you guys about that, and then we went into, I did like this Reiki class, which was really cool. So I was trying to do everything. Like, she asked for volunteers. I'm like, please, me, get this ball of fire out of me, please. So I did that, but it didn't work. The ball of fire did not leave me. So, oh my God, that was so annoying. Okay, so then finally the last day comes, and Sunday, and I'm like, okay, you know what? Like, I've tried everything. I've tried to get this ball of fire out of me. This burp, it was just stuck. It was like burning right here, right at your trachea, like right where my throat chakra is. And then it just felt like this gas bubble of a burp that just kept floating around, and I could feel it like in my ribs, in my back. And then it would like come up, like it had to come up, and I'm like, ugh, and then it would just go back down. And I'm like, oh my God, it was so painful. It was stuck for so long. So anyway, so Sunday we started ceremony around like 2 to 3. I want to say it was honestly kind of late but we were staying there. We could stay there Sunday night, so it wasn't that bad. So we started from 2 to 3. We did the final ceremony. I took 1 cup. I purged right away because it's just I literally like had my nose plugged the entire time. They were like laughing at me because I literally was just like walking like nose plugged all the way back to my mat, and my mat was like all the way in the back, and I had to go back to my mat, and I would like grab my mouthwash, I'm like, and then like an Altoid, and then I would like grab the peppermint to smell. I'm like, oh, it's so gross, it's so gross. I think that's gonna be like the hardest thing, is like going back and having to smell that and like drink it. It's like after you throw up so much on it, it just, the sensory just like triggers it. So first cup, I drank it, I threw up literally right away. And then I got like really tired, and so I laid down on my mat, and I was just like, oh, getting sleepy. So even thinking about it, I'm like, sleepy. It made me sleepy. And then I'm just like, okay, the girl next to me, I guess she left. I think she went inside and got really sick. So she was like on the toilet and throwing up. And I was just like, just having random thoughts, nothing crazy. I started having the song stick in my head. What's it called? Hold on, I have to sneeze. Thank you. I'm sure some of you said bless you. That song, the once I was 7 years old, my mama told me, go find a friend or you'll be lonely. I don't know that song, whatever. I can't remember it. But that song was like stuck in my head, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't get this song stuck out of my head. And then I couldn't remember the chorus, and so I was like, okay, look up this song. Like, why is this song stuck in your head? And then I had like the Bruno Mars song stuck in my head too. It was very weird. Which, by the way, I think Bruno Mars is in my birthday portal. According to Astral Assassin, who does the birthday decos. Sorry. So that was interesting. Yeah, I really just didn't really have much going on. I was just like, okay, is anything gonna happen? No, I just felt the medicine in me, just like feeling drowsy, and that was pretty much it. And I wanted to take a nap, but I couldn't fall asleep. Then a second cup started, and I was like, oh, second cup already? It was like within the hour. He already called for a second cup. So I was like, do I want a second cup? I don't know. My stomach hurts. Do I want a second cup? I got up to go to the bathroom, and then I was like, all right, just go get a second cup, because like nothing's really happened. So just go get it. So I went to get a second cup, and then I went up there, and I'm like this is me like the entire time. Like when I went up there the first time, I was like, and he was like laughing at me. And then I went up for a second cup, and I was like, here we go again, And then he's like, he goes up, and then he like tells one of the girls, he's like, watch me, because I'm gonna touch her, make sure my hands are clean. He was just cleaning his hands or whatever. And then he goes, and then he comes over, walks around the table, and I was like, what are you gonna do to me? And he was like, that's your problem. I'm like, I know. I was like, what is he gonna do? So then he did like the third eye ritual thing on me again, and I'm like, oh shit, okay, like, where is this gonna send me, you know? And so I was like, all right, here we go. And so then he gives me the cup, and I like just walking down the little steps, I'm like, oh, and he's like, don't throw it up. I'm like, okay. I'm like holding it in. Oh my god, okay. So I had to go back to the mat, and they were like watching me like, you can't throw it up. I'm like, okay. And then I'm just like holding it in, like breathing the peppermint. And then after like it settled, then I could feel like the, you know, because I'm still feeling that burp inside me. And so after it settled, finally I threw up because it had to get that burp out of me. And I felt like that, the majority of like that release, and I was like, oh, thank you, thank God, oh my god, I needed to get that out of me. So I purged that, and then I was like waiting, and I started seeing like little shapes, and I was like, okay, here we go, like, let's go to another dimension, please take me somewhere nice, please take me somewhere nice. I was like really scared, and I think my fear of going somewhere that like I didn't want to go blocked me because nothing happened. So it was very anticlimactic. And I know last time, you know, he did my third eye thing, and I think because I was so like, had no idea what the fuck was gonna happen, I just like went with the flow. And this time I really stopped myself. Like I really was like like scared every step of the way, because I was really scared that like I was gonna see bad stuff. It was so hard. So at this point, I'm like laying on my mat, and then the girl next to me comes back. So she had like gone to the bathroom, and then they had put her on the grass to ground herself. And so she had her whole trip, and then she was done. And then she was done, and she was like being loud. She was just like talking and being like, well, I'm done. Like, I'm ready to go, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like still trying to like process mine. So then she kept like talking out loud. And so I asked her to like, shh, be quiet, you know. She's like, oh, sorry. And then her friend was next to her, and then she was having a great trip. She was loving it. But then it got to the point where they kind of were like talking like, oh my god, da, 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 which I get, because like that was me the first time, but like I was being so triggered by people talking, and it wasn't just them, everybody got really loud. So actually there's one lady there who when Taita, the shaman, when he came and he was like playing his harmonica, and he had like these leaves things, and he was like on people and stuff, he came over her, and I don't know, I think maybe she must have talked to him or something, because he like knew to go to her, and then he was like doing it over her, and she just let out like she was like literally like she started off like and then it got louder and louder and louder, and my sister's working, so I can't get like super loud, but she just let out like this, she was on all fours over her bucket, and she was like and just like let out the biggest screams from like the depths of her soul. And I was like, yes girl, let it out. And she just let out these like huge screams, and like when people let out those screams, I'm like, what are they feeling? What are they seeing? I want to know, because to me it sounds like they're just going down this spiral of things, you know, because remember I told you guys that I saw this like you know, humanity destroying itself, and I'm like, are they going through down the spiral? Like, what are they seeing? And then she let out, and I think once she let out that big scream, everybody was like, felt really comfortable just being loud, because after that everybody was being super loud and talking, and like and everyone just started like, you know, laughing out loud. Everybody was laughing out loud, or just screaming out loud, or it just got so loud, and I was so triggered, which like last time on Sunday, I think it was kind of like that. Like people were just more comfortable like being loud outside. So I was stuck inside the barn. So it was different for me. But this time, like we were all outside, and I was like, oh my God, the noises are too much. Like they're too loud. Like I couldn't think. Like I could not think with my own thoughts. Just everyone was being so loud. And then when the shaman walked by, I asked him if he could ask people to be quiet. And then he was like, oh, just find another place to go. Where am I going to go? Everybody's being quiet. And I'm like, and also like I was under the medicine. So I was like really tired. Like I couldn't walk. And so I'm like, what the fuck? And then like one of the other facilitators walked by, and I'm like, hey, can you like help me move somewhere quiet? Like I can't deal with all the sounds right now. And he was like, okay, hold on. So then he went and talked to the shaman, and the shaman told him to move me to the grass. But like I'm all the way in the back, and then the grass is all the way in the front. So I'm like, okay, so I'm just gonna have to keep dealing with everyone being loud. Like, that's not what I want. I want to get away. I want to go as far away from here as possible so I can be in peace and quiet. So he was like, hey, he wants you on the grass. I'm like, dude, I don't want to go on the grass. And he's like, that's where he wants you. I'm like, oh, he's so annoying. I was like so annoyed because I was like, is he trying to make me like deal with my triggers? Is that like his thing to like make me get over it, you know, because I really just wanted peace and quiet. So I was like, maybe he thinks it'll be better if I'm just like in the midst of the chaos to like really overcome it, because, you know, the only way out is through. So anyway, we move up to the grass, and then there's one girl next to me who's kind of just talking to herself, and then there's another girl next to me who's like just like clearing her throat. It felt like, I'm guessing she had something stuck in her throat. And so she just kept like making all these sounds. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't do this. I can't do this. I cannot be next to all these sounds. They're so triggering. They're so loud. Everybody's so loud. And then after that, people just started like screaming out loud and being like, I love you guys. And then one girl started like confessing when she like lost her virginity, and like, it's something about it being her most embarrassing moment, and she was like being so loud, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't do this. I can't like listen to these people being like so loud all the time. And so I literally was like, I can't even think, like I can't think with my own thoughts, you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody was so loud that they were infiltrating my head, and I was just like, oh my God, I just want quiet. I just want silence. I need silence, please, because I can't think right now. So then the shaman like came by playing an instrument, and I like motioned to him, and he was like, hold on. And then he sent someone over to me, and then I'm like, I really need peace and quiet. Can I please go somewhere quiet? And then the shaman was done playing his instrument, and so they were like, go talk to him, see what he says. So I went up to him, and I'm like, hey, I really need quiet right now. Like, these sounds are so triggering. Everyone is way too loud. I need to be in silence. He's like, yeah, just go inside. So, you know, the place I showed you guys in the beginning. So I ended up going inside, and so one of the facilitators helped me get inside. And I was still tired from the medicine. So I went inside, and he took me to the couch, and there wasn't really anybody in there. So I was like, okay, good. Like, this is going to be good. I can just like rest here, right? So then he took me to the couch, and then I just got really sad, and I said, I miss my parents so much. I wish I could hug them. I'm like, and I just started like crying, and I was like, do you know how much it sucks to like have your parents alive and not be able to just have them in your life because they don't accept you for who you are? I'm like, I was just like crying, and I was like, I just want to hug them, and them hug me, and like actually like love me for me. And he was like, well, hug them, like you can do it. And so he like had me do like an air hug, and I was just like hugging myself. It's like, it's not the same, you know, but it was a nice effort. I was just sad. I was like, I miss my parents. I just like, my sister was in Florida with my parents, and it's like, it would be nice if I could also like just visit my parents and like be normal with them, and them not be fucking trying to control me or judge me all the time. And so I had asked him if I could put my headphones on, because I'm sorry guys, I'm still so tired. I had asked him if I could put my headphones on, my Bluetooth headphones, because I wanted to just listen to binaural beats and zone out and go to sleep, because I'm so sensitive to sounds. Like, every little sound was like gonna wake me up. So then he was like, he's like, let me teach you something. And he just like taught me how to just like be within myself, close my eyes, and just like try to focus on myself. And then he was like, and then one of the girls was cooking the dinner meal, so then we could hear the sizzling, and he's like, hear the sizzling, hear her chopping up the vegetables, and it sounded like ASMR. And then he's like, that's what our parents used to do. And then that just made me cry even more, because I'm like, why would you say that? And so I was like crying, and then he ended up like walking away or whatever. And then there was another girl that was on the couch, and then she's like, oh my God, I can't stop yawning. Sorry. And then there was another girl on the couch, and she's like, I got you. And she came over and like laid on my I was sitting up, and so she laid on my lap and was kind of holding on to me. And she's actually a facilitator at another location. So I was like, are you facilitating? Are you under the medicine? And then she was like, and she like didn't answer me. And then I was like, I remembered that she had told me that this is her weekend to drink. So I was like, oh no, you're under the medicine. So like, I didn't want to vent to her, because I'm like, if she's under the medicine, then she's processing as well. I don't want to bother her. But I did mention some stuff about my parents, and she asked me some questions and stuff. And then I had asked her like why she decided to come to this one, and then she didn't answer me, and I was like, okay. I was like, maybe she like went off on her in her head somewhere, went on her trip. And then Courtney, the head of Hummingbird Church, came out and started talking to us. And so I was like getting out of the medicine because there was so much stuff going on. Everybody was talking, people were coming in the house like getting food and stuff, and I was like, okay, this is annoying because nothing is happening for me. Like, I'm so tired, I want to take a nap. So I asked Courtney, I'm like, hey, is anybody in your bed? And she was like, no. And I was like, do you think I could take a nap in there? Like, I came in here for quiet, but now there's way too many people in here. She's like, oh yeah, girl, like it's gonna be loud in here, so I'll clean off my bed for you. So she cleaned off her bed for me, and then I went into her room and attempted to take a nap. I think I like dozed off for maybe 30 minutes, but not really. So I went in there and I'm like, what's wrong with me? Like, the medicine didn't hit me this time. I just got triggered by people. And then we had to do closing ceremony. So then I ended up like, at this point, it's like around 8 p.m. or something. And so I came out of the room, and I feel so bad because I was talking to one of the facilitators. I came out of the room, and his name is Ryan, and he was the one that like helped me so much last time. I'm sure I talked about him in the first one. He was the one that was like helping me go to the bathroom like every 5 seconds. He's amazing. And I came out of the room, and he like gave me a hug, and I was like, where's the shaman? I want to talk to him. And he's like, I think he's in his room. I was like, okay. And then he's like, are you okay? How was your journey? And then I just kind of started talking to him, and I like cried a little, and then we went off to the side to a couch and just like started really just like venting and talking about life. And he started telling me about his journeys, and it was a great great conversation. And then I felt bad because everybody was eating dinner, and then like I don't know if I like held him up because he didn't end up eating. And then they were like, hey guys, we're doing closing ceremony, everybody's got to go outside. And we're like, oh, okay. And so we went outside, and he was like, are you hungry? Do you need to eat? And I was like, no, I can't eat because I have this freaking acid reflux that won't leave me. So I didn't eat since like Saturday. I hadn't eaten, and this is Sunday night, because I was just like, this pain, it hurts so bad that if I eat anything, it's just gonna hurt more. So I didn't eat. And then he was like, well, do you want, I think it's called mambe. It's like this powder that is kind of like matcha. And then you put it, like you open this, and then you put it right here, like chewing tobacco. And you put it right there, and then you just hold it in there, and then you use your saliva to kind of make it like a paste, kind of like mud. And then within like, you know, the next 30 minutes, you just kind of swallow it, and it's supposed to help settle like any indigestion or a headache you have or anything like that. So then he asked me, he's like, do you want to try some? And I'm like, well, I might as well. I've tried everything else and nothing's worked, so why not? And he's like, I love your spirit. So I went up there and got some of that, but I ended up, you know, doing that for like, it ended up taking me like an hour because I kind of forgot that it was sitting there, and I was like, oh right, I'm supposed to swallow this. So I had to get some water to swallow it and stuff. Did not help. So I honestly feel like it really was just energy that was stuck inside me more than it was like real acid reflux, because anything I did, like everyone was like, oh, this is gonna work, and then like nothing worked. Like I did the rapé, I did the spooning, I did the mamba, I did more purging, I did everything that I could do, and nothing worked. And I'm like, this has to be just energy that is built up inside me. So then yeah, and then we did a closing ceremony. Everybody gathered around like the pool, and you know, we all just, he like went over us with the harmonica and the little leaf thing over us. And then I talked to the lady that like let out those screams, right? And I was like, what happened? Like, what did you see? What were you feeling? And she told me that she was just feeling like she had felt very suppressed, like her light was being dimmed for her like workplace, I guess, and that, you know, that her coworkers were trying to shut her down and shut her up. And then she was like, and then that she realized that they were sent to her to make her shine even brighter. And so when she was letting out those screams, she felt like she just could let it all out, all the rage that she had inside, that they were like, you know, just holding her down. She could finally let it out. And so I was like, man, I really need that. I feel like I have a lot inside me that I have to let out, and I can't. And I feel like that's why I had that ball of fire inside me. And I was like, but I'm scared. I'm scared that that's going to happen to me. Like, I'm scared that I'm going to do one of these ceremonies and I'm going to have the same reaction that she did, where she just like yelled really loud. And I don't know why that's like a fear of mine. It's like, okay, so the first time, you guys know that my first trip, I was so loud and like literally all over the place, like a mess, right? So I think like, because later on I found out that like, you know, usually people are, you disrupt other people's process when you do that, and you're supposed to do it internally. This time was really hard for me to let go, because I was not only thinking about the first time and how I reacted, I was also thinking about the fact that there's so many people around me that were my followers and were watching me, and I'm like, oh my god, every little thing I do, any little thing I say, like they're gonna hear it, they're gonna watch me, they're gonna talk about it. Like, it was so hard. I'm like, never again am I telling people I'm going to be at a ceremony. I don't want to do this again. I did not like the feeling of being watched. I did not like the feeling. And it was my head. It was all in my head. Everybody was going through their own journey. Like, I doubt that my followers were paying attention to me. 100%. They were going through their own shit. They were into the medicine. They had their own journeys. Like, they were having their freakouts and being pulled to the barn. But I'm over here thinking that they're all paying attention to me. Girl, the world doesn't revolve around you. Calm down. Okay. So that was really rough for me. And that's something that I really had to work on this weekend. And I think it just has to do with like my upbringing and my parents, and like feeling like every little thing I did was being watched, because it was, especially from my mom. So feeling like I was being watched every second, like, made me so uncomfortable and made me feel like I couldn't let go. So, oh my God, it was really rough. And I feel like that's why I had that as a reflex, because I was like, dude, I can't let go. I can't let go. Like, I held in a lot. I was scared of what my journey was going to be like. I was so scared. I feel like the first time that I do all this stuff, it's like, oh, it's not bad. Like, you know, I don't know what's coming, right? So you just let go. But like, once you've had these experiences like I've had, where they've been rough every time, I get so scared that I'm like, I don't want to do it again. And my ego blocks me from letting go. So it was rough. Anyway, I ended up talking to that lady, and she's actually like an intuitive worker. So she gave me her card so that we could like talk about stuff and maybe do a session with her. So I'm probably going to do that. But yeah, I really need to have a session where I just literally just let out all this anger. And on the way home, on the drive home, I did scream a few times to like just let out rage and anger. But then I got a little lightheaded and I was like, oh girl, you gotta drive. But also I forgot to tell you guys. So you know that bark that I told you that I had to put over like in my underwear because I was on my period? I asked what it was, and they said it was just like blessings. Like, it's just because, you know, I don't know. Yeah, I guess because the medicine can kind of affect it. It's just to like bless your process. It did feel like my period lasted like longer. But I don't know. It just felt like it lasted like a full like 7 days this time. So, although sometimes my period is long, that's why I'm on birth control, because it takes way too long to like get it over with. But this time I think the medicine like made it flow even more, which was really annoying. So anyways, I ended up staying there that night, and I ended up talking to the musician. We talked about stuff. He told me about his journey. I told him about mine. We exchanged stories, and then I kind of hung out with him and two other girls that were there. One of them actually lives in San Diego, so she lives near me, and she follows me as well, and she was really cool. So I was like, oh my god. And she also wants to facilitate, so I'm like, girl, we can carpool. So, although I don't know, because you know me, I like to take my car and sleep in it. But, yeah, so that's really cool. So hopefully I will meet up with her. And then I became friends with another girl, and her and I stayed up till like literally 3 a.m. talking about our families and our stories. And it was so nice to exchange stories with someone. It was really cool. So that was really nice. And even though I was really tired because I hadn't slept at all, you know, it was nice to talk to people. I ended up sleeping in my car. I fell asleep around like 4 a.m, and I got up. I made myself get up at like 9:30 because they wanted us gone by 10. So I woke up at like 9:30 and I was so tired I could barely open my eyes. And right as I like crawled out of the car, I'm like, when I opened, there's two other girls there that follow me, and they were about to leave too, and so they came over and gave me a hug. And I didn't get a picture with all of my followers. I did get a picture with some that's up on my Instagram, but there were more that I didn't get a picture with. But But yeah, I was talking to them and they told me about their journeys and it was great. And so I got to talk to them. And then the shaman was there and I was like, oh my God, I thought you had left. So I gave him a hug and told him that I feel like I need to sit with the medicine more. I definitely need to sit with the medicine more before I can be a facilitator, because I can't be facilitating if I'm getting so triggered. Like, maybe it's because when I'm under the medicine, it intensifies every sound, and so I get triggered more. Maybe if I'm sober, I won't get so triggered. It's just like, okay, like, you know, I'll be just helping, right? But I know that he will have you drink even if you're facilitating sometimes. And what if it just triggers me and I'm just not, like, I don't know how people drink and facilitate, because I feel like I'm gonna be a mess. So I definitely need to sit with the medicine more. And they're all like, yeah, that's fine. Like, we all know, like, when we can facilitate and when we can't. Sometimes we just have to really sit with the medicine. So I'll definitely have to do it again. And yeah, and then I ended up just talking to everyone and saying bye to everyone, and it was so great. And then I came home. And we had integration on Wednesday night. Yeah, Wednesday night, and I got to talk to people and stuff. And integration was all about, like, just integrating the process, like figuring out how did the process go. It was weird for me because I felt like, did I even really have a journey, or did I just make myself sick with ayahuasca? Because all I did was purge the entire time. And then I came back. Oh yeah, when I came back, it was Monday, right? So I was starving because I haven't eaten since Saturday. And so I'm like so hungry, and I'm like, I really want to eat, and I really wanted just like a salad. I wanted something not heavy. And so I had been talking to Ryan, not Ryan from Hummingbird, Ryan, my ex Ryan, who I'm still friends with. And I'm like, dude, I really want to get food. And he's like, yeah, what do you want to get? And I decided I wanted Greek food, like Mediterranean, because I don't know, I'm like obsessed with it now. There's like a Mediterranean place near where I live and it's so freaking good. And I'm like, yeah, I really want like a Greek salad. And so we went there, and dude, I got my food and I took like one bite in, and it was like fire burning in my throat. I'm like, oh my God. And then I was like so hungry, so I was trying to eat, but every bite I took, the gas, like, oh my God, it was like the gas bubble and the fire was just like attacking me. And I'm like, I was like in so much pain. I thought I was gonna cry. I was like, I had to pack everything up, and I was like, I need something. And he was like, you're gonna have to drink milk. And I'm like, I hate milk. Like, I hate white milk. I haven't drank white milk since I was a kid, and I was in school in Puerto Rico, and they made us like drink these bags of milk. They would put, it was in pouches of milk, and they would run out of chocolate milk, and so I had to drink white milk. And you would like stab the straw in the middle of the bag, and I was like, and I would like suck it up, and I would suck up the air in the bag, and it would make me gag every fucking time. So like, I don't drink milk. If I have regular milk, it's only in like a hot chocolate, a coffee, or cereal. I don't drink it plain. And normally I'll choose either almond, coconut, or oat milk. I don't choose regular milk if I can, but I had to drink it. This is how desperate I was. I was like, I need to go right now. We like paid in a hurry, boxed everything up and left. And there's a gas station across the street. I like rushed to the gas station, and I like buy this little bottle of milk that cost me like $3 because it's a convenience store. And I'm like drinking it with like my nose plugged because I'm like, oh my God, I hate milk. And then we like rushed to CVS, and I got like this antacid and like anti-liquid thing, antacid anti-gas liquid thing. And it literally is like the same consistency as milk. So like I drank that, and then I drank the whole thing of milk because I was gonna die. I was like, this is the worst fucking pain ever. Oh my God, it was so bad. So couldn't eat that day either. And then I just like, I think I just ended up like taking a nap that day because I was like, oh my God, it was so hard. It was so hard to sleep with that fucking ball of fire inside me. But then, and then like I had borrowed my sister's car, and then, well, anyway, I borrowed her car, which was great because I got to sleep in it, but it was a journey. Anyway, that's irrelevant, so I'm not even going to include that. Anyway, with integration, they asked, who am I now? And I had to write down, who am I now? So I'm going to go ahead and get the notebook so I can read it to you guys. So as you know, they give us these notebooks. Which, look what it says. Never stop looking up. Oh my God. Meant to be, you guys. Okay. So, I had written down my night 1 intentions, and then I wrote down what happened on night 1, and then I wrote night 2 intentions, and that was it. Stopped writing after that, because my night 2 intentions was feel God's love and reassurance that I'm doing his work to help humanity, clarity on what to do career-wise, feel peace, love, happiness, and bliss. And it was rough. So anyway, okay. So they said, who am I now? And I wrote, I am someone trying to heal all the trauma I've been through that I've suppressed through 35 years of my life. I am trying to understand the world and others around me. I need to let go of the feeling of being perceived and judged by others. I am worthy of love, happiness, compassion, and everything I want in my life. I deserve all of my heart's desires. So you guys know that I put myself out there, right? And it's crazy to put yourself out there and your biggest fear is to feel judged and perceived. Isn't that crazy? And I didn't realize that it was such a big thing for me, because I'm always like, I don't give a shit what people think about me. And I don't give a shit what people think about me, but like, it's a very weird thing. I've always never really cared. I've been true to myself. I don't give into peer pressure, but I think it's because of my trauma of, with just feeling like my, always being judged and perceived with my parents and my family and stuff, that it really is deep inside me. That's like, I'm holding on to that. And so I know that you guys are all super supportive and like love what I'm doing, but I didn't realize how much of that really affected me until this ceremony, where I was like, I couldn't let go. I couldn't let go because I was just like, oh my God, people are watching. What are they going to think? And I didn't realize that that was such a big thing for me. And again, that ball of fire that I had inside me was like a lot of things that I've suppressed, a lot of trauma that I've suppressed, a lot of like, I guess just like doubts and fears of myself that I've suppressed, of like, oh, I don't want people to judge me. Like, what are they going to think? Which is it's so weird. It's so weird. I didn't know that that was a thing within me. I didn't know that I cared that much. And so when I was talking about it after, the musician was like, what you post on social media, does it coincide with what's going on here during your ceremonies? And I'm like, I mean, I expose everything. I'm very open. I didn't realize that I have this like thing inside me, this like weird thing I'm carrying around of just like not feeling free to be myself. I knew it with my parents, but I guess I didn't know it that I'm like thinking about it with literally everyone in the entire world. Because I was so open, and I don't know what happened after, like, I just said it last night where I got back from ayahuasca, and I was like, I feel like I took steps back. I feel like I kind of fell back asleep, because I'm like caring a lot about other people's perception of me, and I'm second guessing everything, and I'm thinking like, am I doing the right thing? What's going on? So it was very weird. Very, very weird. I feel like I was at a high before going to ayahuasca, and then I came back and I'm like, what are you doing with your life? What's happening? So it's been hard these last few days. And I understand that like the medicine takes you out of it for a minute, and you really need to give it time to settle and then get back into the groove of things. But I was like, oh my God, you're wasting time. Get to work. Like, what are you going to do? Like, get your YouTube going, get your Patreon going, make your TikToks. Like, what are you doing? People are waiting. And then like people would message me and are like, where's your ayahuasca video? And I'm like, oh my God, you guys are doing the same thing that's triggering me. Stop doing that. Stop. Like, you guys are triggering me by pressuring me to post this fucking video right now. And like, I need time. Give me a second. Okay. So like that irritated me, and it's not anyone's fault. Like, you guys don't know. People just want to, watch stuff. But I did post it on my story where I was like, I feel the pressure on myself because I know you guys are waiting for another video, and like, that's the shit that's like triggering me. It's like, I don't want to feel this pressure. Like, I have to be okay with like doing things for myself and not for others, but especially when I'm not making any money off of this. You guys aren't paying me for this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you guys are paying me, then it's like, okay, I owe you. But when you're not paying me, I don't owe you guys anything. And so it's like, I need to stop putting this pressure on myself and taking your words to heart when you guys are like, where's your video? And it's like, I know you guys just want to watch the video, but like, I take it as like, where's your video? Hurry up, we're waiting, you know? And that's not how you mean it. So it's all again, perception in my head. So that's what I need to work on. So yeah, that's rough. And again, I know you guys are just like wanting to see my stuff, so like nothing against you personally. It's just me putting this pressure on myself, and I need to know that it's okay to set boundaries. I need to set boundaries. If I can't reply to everyone, I can't reply to everyone, and it's gonna be fine. The world's not gonna end, okay? I need to stop putting this pressure that I need to perform, that I need to reply to everyone, because I was trained, you know, the minute we, like my parents, like the minute we call you or text you, you drop everything you're doing and you respond to us. So like now I have this like conditioning of, oh my God, people are writing to me. I need to drop what I'm doing to respond to them. And it's like, no, you don't. No, you don't. It's okay. No, you don't. And also, like, you don't need to be people's therapist. I take on so much of the energy from everyone else. Like I told you guys, you know, when that guy was like, I don't want to do this anymore, and I'm like, okay, take it on for him. I'm taking on so much of your guys' energy, and I really need to protect myself. And I didn't think that that was a thing. When people are like, now that you're doing all this, you need to start protecting your energy. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, that's not true. But like, no, it is true. It is true, because I really will take on all of this energy onto myself. And like, this is why I had that fucking uncomfortableness inside me, because it was like, I couldn't just let go and like, you know, tell everyone to shut up. So it's all me. It's all in your head. I'm telling you, it's all in your head. It's all how you see things. It's all what you make out of what you have. You know what I'm saying? So the next thing was, what does that mean for my life now? And I put, it is time to stop holding it all in. Stop worrying about how you come across to others. You deserve to be authentically yourself and unapologetically you. You deserve to be free of the mental prison you put yourself in. You are not responsible for others' issues. You need to let others figure their shit out. You are on your own journey. Their soul will figure it out when they're supposed to. Put yourself first. Live your life to the fullest. You deserve it. So it's just, it really is like, I will take on everybody's issues, because I'm like, oh my God, how can I fix it? How can I fix it? And then my sister got back from Florida, and she was saying the same thing. She was on a girls trip, and she said that like anything that would come up, she's like, how can I fix the issue? Okay, what can I do to fix it? And she's like, stop trying to fix others' issues. They're adults. They can fix it. And I'm like, girl, we have the same trauma. We have the same trauma where we just got conditioned to fix everyone's issues. We just got used to it. Okay, what can we do to fix it? How do we fix it? And honestly, we got it from my mom, because my mom just wants to fix everyone even when there's nothing wrong with them. She's just like, how can I fix it? Because they're not doing what I want them to do. So let's fix it, you know? So, but besides that, we just got used to like, oh, there's a problem. How do we fix it? How do we make this person happy? How do we get them into a better mood? Like when it came to my parents. So we just conditioned to fix people, and we really just need to fix ourselves. Okay. And then the last thing was, what advice do you have for yourself? And I said, let it go. Seriously, let it go. This life is too short and already too hard to be adding stress to yourself. Stop feeling responsible for others. You don't owe anyone anything. What others think of you is not your problem. It is theirs. People get uncomfortable with what they don't understand. People like to bring others to their level. You are a light. You are here to succeed and be happy. You know that God and the universe has always had your back. You have never gone without. Trust the process. Stop trying to rush everything. Stop thinking ahead. Live in the present. Be in the moment. Enjoy this incarnation. It is your last one on earth. I hope. But I put that on there because I really want this to be my last life on earth. And then we did this framework, which is, we wrote down, my little integration, internal, external, relationships, communication, health. And so with internal, I put like, what's something that you can work on internally, and I put self-acceptance. What's something you can work on externally? I said productivity, because I want to be more productive with all of my content, and I also want to do like yoga and meditation and stuff like that. With relationships, I put that I can hold space for people, which I feel like I do hold a lot of space for people. maybe I should have put boundaries, because I definitely hold space for people. Communication, I put be more direct, which I feel like I'm very direct, but like there are certain people like my sister who I sometimes walk on eggshells because I don't want to make her mad, because we both have the same trauma. So it's very hard living with someone who has the same trauma as you while you're trying to work around it. And then for health, I put yoga, meditate, and less acidic food, because obviously acidic food is an issue for me. But I love acidic food. I love tomatoes. Tomatoes are my favorite. And honestly, when I'm having this like acid reflux burn, everything is acidic. So like nothing I eat will cure it. I've suffered from acid reflux like my whole life, pretty much since I was like a teenager. And I think it's just the anger that has built up. If you guys haven't watched Heal on Amazon Prime, I highly recommend it. It just talks about how you can heal your body, yourself mentally, and also how trauma will manifest itself in the body physically. So with acid reflux, they say it's literally just anger that is built up inside you, and it must manifest itself somehow. So it manifests into acid reflux. And I have had acid reflux forever, to the point where I was like, I think I have an ulcer or something, because it was just like, oh my God, the constant acid reflux. And then it would just get to the point where like I couldn't eat anything. I can't eat cereal, I can't eat fruits, I can't eat vegetables, I can't eat bread, I can't eat chocolate, I can't eat like any little thing. Like they say like, oh, watermelon and cantaloupe or something is like really good for acid reflux. Doesn't matter, it trigger it more. It's insane how bad like my acid reflux will be. It would just trigger it more, and I'm just like, well, I can't eat. And then I like even was just drinking water during those few days, and then that would even trigger my acid reflux. So it didn't matter. That's why I think it's like an energy thing, you know. I really have to like work on not holding this stuff in and just letting it out, just letting it go. So that's what I'll be working on. And that's it, you guys. That was my journey. I'm sorry it wasn't very exciting. And then that was the other thing, I was putting this pressure on myself, like, girl, they're expecting a grand old story, and what are you gonna tell them? You got nothing for them. You got nothing. So I'm sorry, guys. I hope this resonated with someone. I hope that someone else is going through this like pressure that they put themselves in. They put pressure on themselves to like perform or make others happy or fix people or whatever, and not wanting to let go. I hope that someone else can learn from, you know, what I said, or I don't know. It's hard. It's definitely hard going through this, but I'm working on it. I literally had just sent my sister this meme that was like, does anyone else feel like when they accomplish something, it's just like, okay, good job, you got it done, instead of celebrating the accomplishment? And it's like, yeah, because growing up, you just were like told like, okay, cool, you did what you're supposed to, you know what I'm saying? Instead of like being celebrated for your accomplishments. And I think that that's part of my thing, is I'm very it's hard for me to take compliments. It's hard for me. I really want to like stay humble, so like it's really hard for me, like when people give me compliments, I'm like, thank you, stop it, no, you are, you know what I'm saying? And then also just like I don't know, I think it's like hard for me to put myself up, like give myself recognition. It's like, okay, sure, oh cool, you have a 1.1 million, and it's like, okay, cool, like, did you really do that on your own? You know what I'm saying? I don't know, I have this thing where I do accomplish things, and I kind of like tone it down. I put myself down. Like, it's like, okay, you really didn't do that great. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to get over that. And I think that has to do with like with my upbringing. Anytime I would do something, like I'm like, oh my God, like I accomplished this, like I got an A on this test, or I did this, or whatever great thing I accomplished or did. You know, my mom would always be like, good job, but you need to give thanks to God. Glory be to God, because without him, you would do nothing, you know? And it's like, you would be nothing without God. You did nothing without God. And so it's like, it was always felt like, okay, so like my accomplishments, like I didn't really do them, like God did them through me. So then why even give myself praise? So it just like, yeah, sure, God helped me through this, but like I also did the work. Can I get a little recognition, you know? And they were proud, and you know, she would be proud of things that I come like, good job, you did it. But everything's like, by the glory of God, you know, thank God you did this, because without God you would do nothing. And it's like, okay, we get it, but can I get a little praise myself? Like, why does everything have to go back to God? And like, I just can't be happy for myself. It's always like, okay, well, yeah, I did it, but like, not really. I didn't really do it, because like God worked through me. So I mean, I did it, but like, who cares? It wasn't really me. So now that's how I still feel. It's like I did these things and I'm like, okay, cool, but like, not really. Like, God brought it to you. God did it to you, through you, you know? And I still believe that. Like, I believe that my downloads are sent from my spirit guides, God in the universe, and it's like trying to help me. Obviously, I can't do, to me, again, I keep saying, I'm like, I can't do this on my own. I'm not God. I'm not source. I think like, you know, people say like, we are God. Like, when you realize that you're God, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't feel comfortable saying that, because we're not God. We're not there yet, guys. Like, that's what we're working towards. We have to go through all the levels of the densities, you know. We started off in like first level, and then we're in 3D now, and we're working our way up. Like, we still have so many levels to go. Like, we're not God yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, in this body, in this human form, we're not. We're not all powerful. We can definitely tap into it, and the more that we grow and the more we ascend, the more that we realize that. But I do not feel comfortable with people saying like, you are God, and it's like, God is within us. Yes, God is within us for sure. That's why we can do the things that we do, but we are not God yet, because if we were God, we wouldn't be here on this planet. We wouldn't be in this incarnation. Like, I feel like it's disrespectful to almighty, all-powerful God, source, light, whatever you want to call it, to say that you are that. No, you're not there yet. And I understand people's perspective, and if that works for them, that's fine. To me, it does not work, because I'm like, please, I am not perfect. I am not all powerful. I cannot. And like, again, I don't know. They say like, if God created everything, then he created balance, right? The good and the bad, and there's really no good or bad. It just is. So that's why they say like, just accept it. You didn't do anything wrong. You're God experiencing itself, the universe experiencing itself. I agree with that. I just don't feel comfortable saying I'm God. I don't, because I can't perform miracles. I can't do every little thing. And like, at least not yet. I think one day we're working our way up to source again, but we're not there yet. Right now, we're in this incarnation to learn lessons, or to just experience what life is. Maybe it's not to learn lessons. Maybe it's just to experience it. Like, I believe that the Big Bang is God in the universe that wanted to feel everything that they created. So they exploded themselves into a million little pieces, and we are all pieces of God experiencing itself, and wanted to experience every aspect. So that's why we're all going through different lives, different experiences, and you know, just everything. And like, we can be the earth, we can be the table, we can be the tree, we can be you, we can be me. We're experiencing everything because we all come from God, and we're just experiencing everything. So like, we are just a tiny, teeny little piece of God in the universe experiencing itself. And so that's my opinion, my perception. You guys can think whatever you want. Again, I am not right, I am not wrong. We're all on our own journey. Well, like I said, we're all little pieces just figuring it out. So anyway, I guess that's it. So I hope you guys enjoyed listening to this journey. And this time I didn't mess with my hair so much. I got a lot of comments of people complaining that I messed with my hair too much, but I do not care. I like messing with my hair, and that like triggered people. I don't know, why does it trigger you that I mess with my hair? Just listen to it then. It's up on my podcast as well. You don't have to watch it. So this will also be on my podcast as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I look forward to your comments. Hopefully nobody be mean. I'm trying to work through that. Okay, guys? So anyways, I hope you enjoyed, and I'm planning on doing Bufo next month again. So I will tell you guys the experience. I still haven't done my Cambo Bufo video. I need to do that, in my acid video. I need to do that. This is like, I don't know what it is with me and with YouTube videos. Like, I don't know. It's just like, it's so hard for me to sit down and do them. I saw this TikTok that talked about how, they think that TikTok is going to start like partnering up with companies like HBO or Netflix or whatever to have shows on TikTok. And I'm like, oh my God, this is what I need. I'm manifesting it, because people tell me that I need to have my own show with TikTok. Like, it already is its own show. So if they could just sign me, and I could just have the show like from TikTok. That would be amazing. So we're manifesting that, but we'll see, you know, we will see, because after this whole experience I was like, do I even want to be in the public eye that much? But yeah, I spend way more time on TikTok than I do watching TV or anything, so it would be great to have it on TikTok. And honestly, like sending people over to YouTube is so hard. Like most people don't come over to YouTube, they like to watch everything on TikTok. So it would be amazing if that could come to fruition, for sure. That would be so cool if we could just watch stuff on TikTok, for sure. But anyway, thank you so much guys for sticking around. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you on the next one.